How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. Do you feel like you waste a lot of time on the wrong men? Wouldn't your life be so much easier if you knew exactly what you should or shouldn't be looking for in a man? Lucky for you, on today's show, we're going to be discussing how to determine if he's worth your time. That way, you don't waste any more years or any more bodies on the man who is just looking to fool around with you. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. How are you all doing on this amazing Monday? I need to shave. I didn't get a chance to shave today. I was real busy the weekend doing a lot of stuff for you all. Okay, welcome. How are you all doing? Good to see you. I see we got Bree up in here, Kitty's in here, Chris is in here, Adorable's in here. I believe I saw Sharice earlier. Nifasimi is here, Kayla is here. Who else is here? Let's see. SH is here. Zyra is here. Is here. Scotty is here. Of course, Karen is here. Salma is here. Who we got in the YouTube chat over here? We got Ivy, one of our amazing channel members here. Tracy Niles, Irina, Devon. We got Vicky. We got Kayla, Ela, Della. Missy America told me to shout out BB as well. So shout out to BB. In the chat as well. I see her, and Kubi as well. Hopefully Kubi recovers from her pink eye. Seen that message. Welcome all you, and Johanna, one of our amazing channel members as well. Welcome all you beautiful people. Let's get today started. Someone said, what's the topic? We're talking about how to determine if he is worth your time. Okay, so we're going to discuss all throughout today these different character traits and what to look for, not just, asking him questions of it, but what to look for in his actions so you can understand, is this worth continuing to pursue? Is this worth continuing? Well, you shouldn't be pursuing, but is this worth continuing to invest my time and energy into? Okay, so number one, we have here accountability. Now, we talk about accountability a lot on the show, and we talk about one of the things that narcissists won't have a lot of is accountability. Now, one of the reasons why I want you to be looking out for this so heavily, right, to understand if a guy is on an ongoing basis worth your time, is because without accountability, you can't do a whole lot in a relationship. Like I always mention to you guys when we have these discussions, you have to understand that the people you're meeting are individuals that have a different life than you, a different perspective, a different way of growing up, have had different parents, hopefully, unless you're from Alabama, right? And, they just see the world differently than you. On top of that, they're a man. So, of course, they're going to look at things slightly differently than you. Now, coming with that, what comes with that is the aspect that because you guys see things differently and go about life differently, you're not always going to agree on everything. In fact, you're going to disagree on some things. You might have to come to compromise on some things. And in some cases, you guys might butt heads. And in some cases, you guys might rub each other the wrong way, make each other upset. And nobody's a perfect human being. So we all make mistakes and we all wrong each other, even in a relationship with someone that we say we love. Here's the thing, though. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making someone upset. There's nothing wrong with, doing something that you might regret or want to take back or want to apologize for. But you can't do that. You can't recover and move forward in a relationship if you're not with someone that is accountable. And accountability is so big because before you're even able, because accountability is not something that just comes in a ready-made package with every guy that you're going to meet. I want you to understand accountability is not as doesn't happen as often with the men that you're going to meet as you think. So this is one of the things you want to be looking out for as you're growing this relationship, to understand if he's capable of being accountable or not. Now, let me help you understand exactly what we're talking about today. Some of you are thinking, okay, Tomisin, I want you to give me advice on how to determine if he's worth my time. And I want to use all of these tools to see if I can determine all of this on the very first date. I'll give you a little realization here. A majority of these things that we're going to talk about aren't just things you can realize on the very first date. Because how are you really supposed to know if someone's accountable in a relationship when you've only went on one date with them? That's not representative of the whole human being. Anyone can be accountable to you for one date when all they had to do was show up on the one date. But you're going to realize who the person really is over the course of time and dating them and getting to know them. Okay, so we want you to be able to utilize this information to understand how a relationship relationship is progressing. And I want to give you very clear and concise strategy and information and knowledge so that as the relationship is progressing, you can be aware of if it's moving in the right direction or if it's not moving in the right direction. Okay. So one of the ways, now I know the next question you're probably going to ask is, Tomisin, okay, you want me to look out for someone who's accountable, and that's going to be my determination of if he's worth my time. So exactly, and how am I going to know if he's accountable? What is he going to do? What should I ask him? How is he going to answer the question? All of the things, like, what does accountability really look like, Tomisin? I really need you to spell this out for me because I really don't know and I really don't understand. It's okay. I got you. We're friends. I'm going to help you out so it's very clear and concise to you. Okay. So let me give you a clear example of how you can spot accountability in a guy that you're in a relationship with or growing a relationship with, okay? So like I said before, in the span of you guys being in your relationship, you're going to have disagreements. Sometimes he's going to do things that you don't like, and sometimes he might cross smaller boundaries of yours. He might make you upset in small ways. You guys might disagree. He might say some things or do some things that he apologizes for or might want to take back. Something wrong with that. We all get emotional. We all do things that we wish, we could do differently. Now, in the process of that, you want to be taking notice. Remember, you're not forcing upon him to be accountable to his actions. You're sitting back and like Mel Robbins said on one video, you're letting them. Right? It's the let them theory, where you allow people to be themselves, you absorb their actions, and you see who they really are. So what I mean by that is when this guy does you wrong, because eventually he's going to do something that upsets you. Let's just be so for real. Even if he's the most amazing guy, not everything he's going to do is going to be absolutely perfect. At some point, he might do something where you guys disagree, have some sort of argument, or don't see eye to eye. Nothing wrong with that. Now, what you want to be looking out for when he does upset you, or when he knows and you know that he was in the wrong, you want to be spotting, is he capable of coming to you and saying, you know what, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, I shouldn't have done that, the way I went about that was wrong because so and so and so and so and so, and in my understanding why that was wrong, I want to make an adjustment for the future so that that situation doesn't happen again. See, you're thinking in your mind, you're thinking, Tomisin, what man is going to be capable of coming to me, knowing what he did wrong, apologizing for that, and coming up with a plan of action? A man who is actually serious about building a relationship with you. That's the type of man that will do that. Now, a man who just wants to smash and dash will not be capable of doing that, nor will he want to do that. So this is actually perfect for you, because when he does come to you and do that, this is a clear sign to you that, okay, I should continue investing my time and energy into you. Because the reality of it is, if you're building a relationship with a guy and investing your time and energy into a guy that you have to come to and beg to apologize to you, beg to be sorry about what he did or how he treated you, or beg him to like try and make it right in the relationship, well, you're not with a man that even wants to really be with you in the first place. And that's the mistake that a lot of you are making. You're thinking, okay, if I want him to be accountable, like Tomisin said, then as soon as I see that there's a space in our relationship where it's required for him to be accountable, I'm going to do the job for him and be accountable for him, or force him to be accountable in this relationship so that he can be the man that I'm looking for and he can look like the boyfriend that Tomisin describes on his show. That's not what we want you to do. We want you to allow the men that you're dating and you're in a relationship with to be who they actually are. And we want you to use this knowledge to say to yourself, are you someone who is accountable or not? Because if I have to hover over you and force you to be accountable, twist your arm and pull your teeth in order for you to be accountable in our relationship, then you're not actually accountable. And any accountability you do take is not because you actually feel that that's the right thing to do or what you should be doing in the relationship. It's because I'm twisting your arm and pulling your teeth. We don't want that for you, because you're only going to end up wasting your time if you build a relationship with someone that you have to twist their arm to be accountable. That's honestly not even what accountability is. Okay? Right? So you want to be spotting. I'll give you an even more direct example. Let's say you and this guy has an argument, right? And you guys are having this argument about something totally unrelated. Maybe it was you guys went to a party and, you didn't like the way he was flirting with one of his female friends and whatever. And so you guys are going back and forth about that. And he's like, talking to you just anyhow. And he calls you the B word. And he's like, B word, I don't even know why this is a problem. You just going crazy. I don't understand you. And da-da-da. And you're like, what? You don't talk to me like that. Like that, I don't deal with that. And you like walk away. Let's say you go on your way home and you're like, yo, that's how you're going to talk to me. I'm not talking to you. I have nothing to say to you, because even if we have a disagreement, there's no reason why you have to disrespect me by calling me outside of my name. Right. And let's say you go ahead and you do that and you walk away because he started calling you names outside of your name. Now, a guy who can be accountable will say to himself, okay, that was a mistake. We were having an argument. I was upset. But that doesn't mean that I call her out of her name or go overboard in that sense and start becoming disrespectful. We can have a disagreement. We can even not see eye to eye without it getting disrespectful. And that doesn't mean I have to start calling her names. He then comes to you. Notice I said comes to you. Notice I said comes to you, without you having to twist his arm and beg him to apologize and all that other stuff. He says, look, I apologize for how I went about that situation. Not only do I understand why you're upset, because if I was in that situation, if I was in your shoes, I would have been upset too. I also understand that it was wrong of me to call you out of your name when that had nothing to do with the situation or what we were discussing. And on top of that, it's disrespectful, and it doesn't even serve, anything positive in terms of moving forward in our relationship or figuring out that issue. That is what accountability looks like. Now, a lack of accountability will look something like this. So after you guys have that issue, he calls you the B word. Rather than going to you and saying, I apologize for what I did. I know what I did wrong. I see your perspective. And also, let me add as well, in the future, rather than, calling you outside of your name, if I'm really that upset that that's the reason that I did that, I'm going to walk away or remove myself from the situation or just say nothing so that I don't slip up and start saying the wrong things. Okay. So if he doesn't do all of that in order to be accountable, and then he instead of being accountable, he has a lack of accountability, this is what that will look like. What he'll likely do is not apologize for what he did. He'll just ghost you for a little bit. And then maybe the next time he sees you at a party, he'll come up to you and be like, oh, so you still mad about that stupid little thing from before, right? He'll do something to essentially avoid trying to apologize for what he did and just see if he can hop back into your life, hit resume, and continue the relationship as it was going on before, without ever having to acknowledge that he did anything wrong in the relationship overall. Are you following what I'm saying? Okay. I'm saying that so that you can understand the difference between what accountability looks like versus what accountability doesn't look like. Okay. Does that make sense? Soul Over Ego says, honestly, all guys do this. A lot of guys who are not ready for a relationship definitely do this. Now, there are mature men that know how to be accountable. That's not every man. I won't lie to you, but definitely there are men out there that know how to be accountable, right? There also are a lot of men out there who have a lack of accountability. Okay, that's why it's such an important factor to be looking for when you're thinking about if you're building the right relationship or if that guy is even worth your time in general. Okay. Cristello says, even with accountability, there are lines that shouldn't be crossed. I 100% agree. Okay. Raisa says in our TikTok chat, she says, okay, second question, where do you find an accountable guy? Because I have seriously never met one. Well, I can promise you accountable guys do exist all over. Now, you might have to do some searching to find them. But the one thing I would advise you not to do is to be looking in bars or clubs, okay? Those probably is where the least accountable guys exist, all right? But that's another story for another day. Accountable guys do exist out there, okay, guys? I don't want you guys to get scared or nervous thinking that no men in this world are ever accountable in relationships, right? Okay. Omisi says, is it possible to have a one-on-one conversation with you? Unfortunately not. The closest thing to a one-on-one conversation is asking me a private question. You can do that by heading over to the link in my bio if you're on TikTok, or the link in my pinned comment if you're on YouTube, and click where it says private relationship question. You fill out the form, you type in your question, and then I'll get back to you within 7 days, okay? But I don't do like one-on-one sessions. I just don't have enough time, unfortunately, okay? So number one was accountability. Excuse me. Number two is very important for you all to understand, and those of you on the younger side really need to understand this. It's part of the reason why I tell you guys that the show has an age limit of 20 plus, because under 20, some of this isn't even going to apply to you because none of the guys you're meeting will have any of this, okay? But for those of you who are older, or even those of you who are on the younger side dating older guys, you need to be looking for this in order to determine if this is even worth your time investing in. Number two is direction. Okay, let's have a conversation here. You need to know, like I've said to you guys before, you need to know if the man that you're dating has direction in his own life. Now, this is something that, see, the mistake that a lot of you make is when you go out on a date, what you're thinking about when you're thinking about direction, you're thinking, hey, do you have direction in our relationship? So one of the first questions you ask him is, hey, what do you want in a relationship, right? What are you looking for? And you're implying, like, what are you looking for in a relationship? And so what is the cookie cutter template answer that all guys are going to give you when you ask them that question? They're going to say, well, this is going to sound so different and like nothing you've ever heard before, but I'm looking for something serious. I'm looking for something long-term. I'm looking for a girlfriend. I'm looking for like a real long-lasting relationship. You know, kind of like the typical thing that all guys will say to you ever from the beginning of time that you ever ask that exact question to, okay? They all have that cookie cutter templated out answer for you, ready prepared, ready made for you, because they already were anticipating that you would ask them that question, okay? We don't want you asking questions like that they already have prepared the answer for, okay? What we want you doing in order to spot if a guy has direction, we want you asking questions about his direction in his own life. And we want you seeing, so we're not going to talk so much about questions today. We're going to talk more about actions that you can observe over the course of time. So we want you observing if he has direction in his own life. Okay, so this is how you observe if a guy has direction in his own life, okay? Because what you're looking for specifically is if he's capable of having a goal, right? Knowing what that goal is, having a plan and a course of action on how to get there, following those smaller goals and steps in order to reach that ultimate goal. So this is something that you kind of have to plop yourself into his life, have an understanding of like what he does, especially this is the easiest way for you to do this. When you meet him, get a clear understanding of what his career is, like what his career path is in general, like what he does, and if that's something that he wants to continue doing. Okay, this is very important. I really want you paying attention to this. This is step-by-step information here. You want to sit down with him, get an understanding of his career. If that's what he wants to continue doing for the rest of his life, okay, you need to understand, okay, where does this career that you want and that you're in right now, what does this look like in the future when you mature in that same career path that you're in right now? Or if he's in a career like, let's say, for example, he's working at McDonald's right now, but his ultimate goal is to be a musician and a rapper, let's just say, you need to understand, okay, you're working at McDonald's now. Obviously, you don't want to be a McDonald's manager 10 years from now. So what are your steps while working at McDonald's now to be a musician in the future? Because you want to eventually be a rapper and be a musician. So what are the steps you're taking right now to transition your life from being a McDonald's worker to being a rapper and a full-time musician? Now, these aren't questions that you come out and ask him. This is actually observation that I want you to make. So for example, like I mentioned before, if he says, I'm in the career path that I want to be in for the rest of my life, but I'm just building up to being the ultimate version of that, you need to be observing, okay, what are your goals, right? So you might ask him what his future goals are, right? But then you need to be observing, is he actually sticking to the plan and the course of action that's going to get him to his ultimate goal, whatever that may be. And this is where I want you to be very understanding. Not everyone's goal is going to be the same. Not every guy is going to say, hey, I want to be the president of the United States. Not every guy is going to say, hey, I want to be a billionaire. Some guys' goals might be a little bit smaller, still impactful, but some guys' goals might be a little bit smaller. As long as there is a goal there, and as long as he's actually doing the work of following the steps to reach that goal, that shows you that that man has direction. So if that guy tells you that you go out on a date with, that he is working at McDonald's right now, but he really wants to be a musician, and all he thinks about is being a rapper and being on stage and holding up a mic in front of 10,000 people and rapping his song, and he wants everyone to know him and he wants everyone to sing his songs, perfectly fine, all good and dandy. Now, here comes the observation that you must make as you're dating him. You've got to see, you just told me what your dream is. You just told me what you want out of life, what you want to extract from life. Now, let's see if you actually on a daily basis do the things necessary to reach your goals. Because that shows me not only do you have direction, but you're capable of actually putting into action the plan that you set in place, abiding by it so that you can ultimately reach that destination, okay? Because a lot of men, and this is what I want you to understand, direction is not just saying, I want to be a rapper one day and make $1 million, because you can't just snap your fingers, wish upon a star, and have it happen to you. You actually, after you say that, have to sit down and figure out step by step how you're going to get to that point. What is the smallest possible step you can do right now in order to get to the next step and get to the next step and the next step and the next step until you finally reach that ultimate goal, okay? So what you need to be understanding as soon as a guy tells you he wants a particular thing for his own life. Remember, this is not relationship related, because the guys have a cookie cutter templated answer prepared for you when you ask him, what are you looking for in a relationship? What guys don't have is a cookie cutter templated answer for what are you looking for out of your own life, because they don't expect you to ask them about their own life and what they want out of life, because they don't understand and aren't able to connect the dots how you're using that to help you understand if he has real direction in this, or is going to have direction in this relationship, okay? Because that's what you're really trying to extract when you're extracting that information. He doesn't realize that, so a lot of times guys are way more honest with you when they don't realize how the question relates to revealing something about themselves. Are you following what I'm saying? Or the action relates to revealing something about himself. So what I want you to be observing after he tells you what his goals are, right? And you can learn what his goals are on the very first dates. I've talked to you guys plenty of times about great questions to ask on dates, right? You can ask him questions about what his goals are and get an understanding of what they are. Now, after you ask him what his goals are and get an understanding of those things, now you start observing. Are you doing the actions, the smaller actions necessary to eventually reach that goal? If you're not doing the necessary actions required to reach that goal, so let's say, for example, this guy who's you met is working at McDonald's. Let's hope you don't meet a McDonald's worker. Let's just say, for the sake of example, he's working at McDonald's, but he says he wants to be a rapper. Cool. He says he wants to be a rapper and a musician and make money as a musician full time. But every day that you're with him, all you see him doing is watching YouTube videos. When you go over to his house, he's never working on music. He's always just watching music videos of other rappers. And you sit there with him watching music videos of other rappers in his dusty apartment, smoking weed that reeks of weed while he's grinding. Actually, you're grinding. He gives you the weed to grind, and you guys are sitting there eating Uber Eats that you ordered, watching YouTube videos of other rappers instead of him ever working on music of his own or doing anything music related. But he consistently tells you about this dream of being a musician and wanting to be a rapper and wanting to be doing this and doing that. So I say that to say These are the things that you start observing and saying to yourself, oh, no. This is not worth my time. Because I'm seeing how you go about your own life. When you set a goal, I want this, you don't actually follow through with it. Okay. You don't actually do the things necessary to get to that point. You don't take your own life seriously. So ding, 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 ding. What do you think is the answer to your question when you actually do ask him and get the truth on what do you want out of a relationship? Even if he tells you what you want to hear, which is I'm looking for something serious, I'm looking for something long-term, I'm looking for a girlfriend, I'm looking for a wife. You have now understood that whenever he says that he's going to do something or says that he wants something, he doesn't necessarily follow through with it. He doesn't necessarily do the things necessary to get to that point. And on a regular basis, you're not going to find him actually taking the actions, the smaller actions necessary to get to where he wants to go. Because saying I want a long-term relationship sounds good in theory. You throw it out into the air and it sounds amazing and it sounds like he's ready and it sounds like he's open and he sounds like he's available and all things will go well. But the reality of it is saying that I want a long-term relationship is more than just putting it out into the air. It's actually doing the things necessary to put yourself in a position where you can actually grow a long-term relationship. So as a guy, you need to be accountable. You need to be willing to pursue the woman that you're with. You need to be willing to sacrifice some of your freedom in the sense that you're not just going to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, go out with your boys until 4 a.m. These are all things that if you're serious about being in a long-term relationship, you're ready for if you truly want a long-term relationship and you want to follow through with that statement. But now you've seen the way that he lives his regular life and the amount of direction or lack of direction that he has in his regular life. You have now seen firsthand that he is not going to abide by his word. And no matter what he says about what he wants out of life or wants out of a relationship, he's not actually prepared to do the hard things necessary to get to that destination. Okay. And the reason I say that and why it's so important for you to be observing, right, when you're meeting guys is because you can waste, oh my God, so much time with guys that don't have direction because you're the woman, right? So it's not your job to say, hey, the relationship's going to go here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And it's going to come here, right? It's not your job to ask him to be your boyfriend, right? So you need to be with the guy who is intentional and has direction and is capable of executing on that direction and intention. See, if you don't, you're going to be in limbo and you're going to be very frustrated wondering, Tomisin, what do I do? I like a guy. This guy can't ask me out on a date. He can't plan a date. He can't be consistent. He can't do anything. And I feel like I have to do all the work. You're going to message me in a private message. Like I've been getting a ton of private messages lately. Okay. And you're going to message me in a private message like, Tomisin, what do I do with a guy who isn't intentional, can't be consistent, doesn't want to ask me out on a date, and doesn't want to do anything except for chill in his house and watch Netflix on my Netflix account? What do I do? There's nothing you can do, which is why I don't want you wasting your time on guys who don't have direction in their own life, because there is a 100% guaranteed chance, 100%, this is the only guarantee on earth, 100% chance that if he has no direction in his own personal life, he will have no direction in the relationship with you. Don't ever waste your time. Because remember, today's show is about understanding if he's worth your time. Don't ever waste your time on guys who have no direction, because you can't do anything with them. They will never be able to magically have no direction in their regular everyday life and then automatically transition to you and your relationship and have a whole bunch of direction in your relationship with them. Don't make that mistake of thinking that that can happen to you and you'll be the lucky person to come across a guy that can do that. It never happens. 100% guaranteed, no direction in his life, no direction in the relationship. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay, right? Goose says, I sent you a personal message way back, but you didn't respond. I'm not referring to just a personal message on Instagram or TikTok. I'm talking about you actually have to fill out the form on my by going into the link in my bio or the link in my description where it says private message. You actually fill out the entire form. You donate to the show, and I go by the donations to track the questions and answer the questions. So everyone that has filled out the form properly and donate to the show, that's how I know that your question is serious and you actually really want a real response. That's how I gauge that. Or else I'd be spending all day answering a whole bunch of questions for people that don't really even care about the answer. I want to know that you're dedicated to receiving an answer and you actually put forth effort into your answer. And when you donate to the show, you'll do that. When you fill out the form, you do that. And then I know you're serious about it. I give you a response on that. So my response rate is 100%. When you guys send me a private relationship question and fill out the form properly. Okay, that's available in the link in my bio or the link in my description, whichever one you want to do that by. All right. So accountability, number one. Direction, number two. Okay. Now, number three that I want you to be focusing on to determine if he's worth your time. Okay, is reliability. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about reliability, see, this is the thing that needs to happen. When you're building a relationship with a guy, you have to understand your guys aren't meant to be like this. What I mean by this is they're not meant to be an emotional roller coaster that goes up one day and down the next day. They're meant to be like this, right? Of course, they can have emotions. They can, flow a little bit, right? But it's a much smoother ride than going up all the way up one day, going all the way down the next day. We don't want that for you. We want you to be building relationships with guys that can be reliable and consistent. Now, I'm not just talking about reliable and consistent in their relationship with you, like going out on dates with you, although that's good. That's great. That's awesome. What we also want to check for and take notice of if he's going to be worth your time is if he is a reliable person. Like, does he have reliable personality and character traits? Do people know what to expect from him? Obviously, not everyone is going to be imperfect. So not everyone's going to be the absolute perfect person that can do everything absolutely perfect. But can people rely on him to be someone that they can count on? Yes, there might be some flaws in your character, but the good things about you, we can count on that day in and day out. So let me give you an example. Let me tell you directly how I want you to look out for reliability and then give you an example as it relates to reliability. So directly what I mean when I say reliability is each individual person. See, when you're meeting friends, this is how you're going to observe this. When you start dating this guy, you're going to eventually start meeting his family and his friends. Hopefully, if you haven't met his family or any of his friends yet, that's another sign that's not good, that we might have to have a discussion. Okay. Now, assuming you start meeting his friends and his family, now is your opportunity to talk to those friends and family one-on-one and get a sense of his character and the person that he is. Now, this is very important, and I want you to take notice of this because this will help you understand if you're moving in the right direction or not. When you're with someone that is reliable, right, that you can count on, which is what you want, when you're talking to these family or friends, you're going to start noticing a theme in which the family speaks about him and the character he has and the way that he carries himself and does things. And you're going to start noticing that same theme in the way that his friends describe him, whether it be his acquaintances, people that know him really well, and his family. Like all of those people that know him fairly well will be describing him very similarly. That is a good sign to you that you're with someone that can be reliable and consistent, because that character that they have gotten to know over the course of years, and for most of them decades, is more in line with what you're going to see on a regular basis for the most part. Because the guy that he's been for 10 plus years is way closer to the guy that he actually is than the guy that you've been going out on a date with for 2 or 3 weeks. You understand what I'm saying? And so I want you to be taking notice of when you meet guys and you start meeting their friends and their family, are they consistent in the way that friends and family describe them? Or are you starting to notice, this is where you start to get in a sense of if someone's not reliable or consistent. when you start asking these family and friends questions, when you speak to his mom, you get one type of person. Then when you speak to his brother, you get a totally different type of person. Then you speak to his best friend, he tells you a totally different type of story. Then you speak to, someone that knew him from a while ago, you get a totally different type of story. And everywhere you go, you get like a radically different explanation of who this person is. That's not a good sign. Right? That's not a good sign at all, because that's not a sign of consistency in character, right? He's this person one day, then he's another person the next day. Then with this person, he's this way. Then with that person, he's that way, right? What that should be telling you is I might be with a totally different guy in 3 months or in 1 year than I am with right now. You don't want that, okay? Because you need to be able to rely on the person that I'm growing with and committing myself to all this time is the same person that's going to be here 1 year from now, the same person that's going to be here 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. You don't want, this is the horror story for some of you, you don't want to start building a relationship with your idea of who someone is right now. You sleep with him, you invest your time in him, you invest your energy into him, you make him your boyfriend, and then 8, 9, 10 months from now, 1 year from now, he is a totally different person. Nothing is the same in your relationship. The way he treats you isn't the same. The way he acts isn't the same. You have all these problems that you never used to have. He talks to you totally different. And now you're sitting here wondering, I don't even know who I'm in a relationship with. What has happened to our relationship? What happened to the guy that I fell in love with? You're a totally different person. That happens when you're with someone who has inconsistent character, someone who's not reliable in their character and in their personality, that you can't count on to be the same person every day. I know when I say the same person every day, it sounds boring, but that's what you want. You want someone that's capable of being the same person every day, because the reality of it is they'll have character flaws. Yes, they won't be perfect. Yes. But what you can count on is the good qualities about them and the expectations you have of them. You can count on having those same expectations of them in the future. So the things that you know he isn't, you'll know that from the beginning, and they'll be the same till the rest of the time. But the things that you know are good and amazing about him, you'll know that from the beginning, and they'll be the same for the rest of time. Because remember, when you're meeting people, you're determining, do you fit the criteria of what's most important to me? And if you do, then I can invest myself in you. But you want to ensure that when you identify you're the person that I'm looking for, that person doesn't change 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Okay? Right? Bree says, my 62-year-old fiance was agreeing with you from last week's episode. I had it playing while I was showering. That's pretty funny. So there must be some truth to what I'm saying, right? So you want to be making sure that you are understanding if the guy you're with is reliable. And like I said, you go about that by speaking to family and friends and getting not while he's there, okay? Make sure he's not there while you're doing that. You speak to family and friends separate from him so that you can get a real sense, right? Without them looking at him and him saying, oh, say the good things, say the good things. Then you'll start to get a sense once you ask 2 or 3 family members, you ask 2 or 3 close friends, 2 or 3 extended friends, you'll start noticing a theme if there's consistency there. And if there's not consistency there, you're going to start noticing a lot of contradicting statements and a lot of contradicting actions to the point where you're going to say to yourself, are all these people meeting a different person? That don't make no type of sense, okay? If you have one friend saying, hey, to be honest, that guy, he is a jokester. Sometimes he jokes when it's inappropriate, but I'll tell you what, if you're ever feeling down, he knows how to pick you back up with a great joke, so, right? So that might be something that people say about him. His friends say, his family say, oh, he's such a fun, outgoing person. He's such a jokester. He likes to have fun and joke around and da-da-da-da, and he's really playful. Now you know that's his personality. But if you hear one friend say he's a jokester, and then you hear someone else say, oh, he's a real serious guy, real serious. In fact, he makes no jokes. He's never funny. He's never trying to do anything, out there. He's not a playful guy at all. Then you hear another person say, oh, actually, he's kind of a really jealous person. I've noticed, the way he acts towards relationships, I don't really know about. And you just hear all of these mixed personalities and you're like, the way you're describing the human being that I know is totally different from the way that this person describing them, from the way that that person and that person and that person and that, are we all meeting the same person? If you start questioning when you're building a relationship with the guy and you're talking to different people in his life, if they're all meeting or know the same person, that's not a good sign. He's not a good sign for you. Okay. Right. Does that make sense? Salma says, I discovered from a friend of my ex that he never saw him single ever, which was a red flag. Hey, trust me, you learn a lot by talking to some family and friends, okay? Wow, that's great water. Refreshing H2O. Does that make sense to you guys so far and everything that we are discussing? Okay, I want to make sure that you guys have any questions as it relates to reliability. Someone said that the drinking is too loud. My apologies. Okay, so accountability was number 1. Direction, number 2. Number 3 was reliability. Now, number 4, this is going to be something that you probably haven't heard a lot of dating gurus talk about. Okay, I just regular person. Number 4 is what we're going to call self-improvement. Now, self-improvement is like a buzzword. Okay, so nobody knows what it means anymore because everyone says it. What I mean by self-improvement is the desire. Okay, excuse me. There has to be. Pay attention to me now. Okay, look in my eyes now. Right, I want you here with me. There has to be within your man, the man that you're going to invest your time and energy in, there has to be an inner desire to improve and get better. Okay? Ivy said no drawings today, maybe later. Okay? There has to be a desire to improve and get better. Why? Because if he doesn't have a desire to improve and get better, how are you possibly going to say, yeah, you know, I do really appreciate this thing that you do in our relationship, but I'll be honest with you, this other thing that you do, I don't like that as much, right? So as he's learning you, he's also understanding, what do you want? What do you like? And what do you dislike? He's learning how to be the best possible partner for you and to you in this specific relationship. So in order for him to actually be the best partner for you, he has to have an internal desire to improve on the things that he needs to work on. The reason I'm emphasizing this is because I know that this can get lost amongst you sometimes, right? And you're not realizing that, like, in a relationship, like, there should be improvement as time goes on. Meaning, it's not that you have to change yourself or change your personality, but if you want to be a good partner to your partner, then you have to be thinking on an ongoing basis, how do I consistently become a better partner to my partner? What is my partner looking for? How do they like to be loved? How do they like to be spoken to? How do they like to be dealt with? When we fight, what is the best way that she likes to be dealt with? Or does she need me to be around her? Does she need me to give her space when we're together? Does she need words of affirmation? Or does she need physical touch? Or does she need quality time? I know how I like to be loved, but how does she like to be loved? Oh, when we go outside to parties, does she like PDA? Does she not like PDA, right? You're constantly thinking about this. Is if the man has self-improvement within him, right? Has an inner desire to improve. He will be thinking about, how do I be a better boyfriend to her all the time? Not just thinking about, I just want to be a good enough boyfriend sometimes so that she can be in a relationship with me, but I just want to do the bare minimum that she'll be in a relationship with me. No, he should be constantly thinking, I love and care about this girl and this relationship. So I always want to be learning what it means to be a better partner to her. Not just learn about it sometimes, or not just learn about it enough to be in a relationship with her. I constantly want to be improving in the way that I serve her as a partner to her. Okay? So this is why I say This is less about something that you ask, hey, are you into self-improvement? Do you have a desire to constantly improve and get better and be the best partner you can be? You're not just going to come out and ask someone. This is something that you observe of someone over the course of time. And you use your observation of this to determine if this person that you're spending a lot of time and energy on is worth your time, okay? So let's give you a the direct thing that you should be observing when we're talking about self-improvement, okay? So what I want you to take notice of is, remember how we talked about you guys might disagree on some things and you might have some arguments and butt heads sometimes. Sometimes both of you or one of you might make a mistake in the relationship, some things that you need to apologize for because you were in the wrong. Nothing wrong with that. That's not a crime. We're all adults. We're all individuals. We all make mistakes. Now, what you need to understand is if that partner of yours, that guy that you're dating, is then making the same mistake over and over and over again. See, because accountability is great, right? But if you don't truly have a desire to improve, accountability means nothing. Because let's say, just for the sake of example, if you are dating a guy and that guy cheated on you one time and he was like, you know what, I'm coming out and I'm telling you that I cheated because I know it was wrong. I know that it puts you in a horrible position, and I know that it happened, and I don't want it to happen anymore, and I don't want our relationship to end, and I want to get better, and I want to improve on this, right? That's accountability, yeah, right? I made a mistake. I was wrong for it. I should have done better, and in the future, I will do better, all that good stuff. That's accountability, yes, but you can't do anything with accountability if it doesn't come with the desire to actually improve. Because if that same guy that's accountable to cheating on you then comes back, 3 months from now and says, yeah, so you know how I told you I cheated on you the first time and it was a mistake and I don't want to do it again and all that other stuff? So I did it again, but I'm sorry again, and I really don't want to do it ever again. He's not going to work for you. He's not going to work, okay? So what I want you to be looking for is when someone makes a mistake, right? Are they capable of actually making an improvement, or do they just constantly fall back in the same cycle, making the same mistake? So cheating was even a little bit extreme. Let me give you guys an even less extreme answer so that maybe you guys can be following along here when I talk about self-improvement. So let's just say, for the sake of example, he loves to go out to the club with his boys. But when he goes out to the club with his boys, they all get drunk with each other, and then he starts getting a little bit too flirtatious. Girls start talking to him. They go to APs. He comes back late. He's coming back at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or he'll fall asleep at the AP or whatever it is, and that's just not going to work for you in the relationship. He talks about, I apologize for it. I was wrong. I should have messaged you. I shouldn't have got that drunk. But then every time he goes out to the club with his boys, he gets too drunk again, and they go to APs again, and he comes back home late again. So at a certain point, he can apologize and take accountability for it again and again, but if there is no desire to improve as a partner, you can't do anything with that. You can't work with that. There's nowhere for you to go from there. There has to be an inner desire. Oh, sorry. Someone said, what's AP? Sorry, I'd be forgetting. Some of you guys aren't in club life. AP means after party. Sorry. I apologize. And when I say AP, I mean after party. So when they're going to the club, they're partying. Okay, guys, let's go to the after party. It's 4 a.m. Obviously, the club's going to close at 2:30. Let's go to someone's apartment. Let's go to someone's house, and we'll have an after party there. You guys know, if you're on the mature side, you know what happens at after parties, okay? We don't even have to pretend here. So self-improvement is very important. And when I say self-improvement, what I'm specifically referring to is the desire to be a better partner. Because the truth of the matter is, if I am dating you and I know that me going out and drinking and going out to clubs and bars and going to APs is hurting our relationship, and I actually have the desire to be a better partner to you, well, then I'm going to have to seriously reconsider either going to clubs or bars, or seriously reconsider drinking if I know that I can't control myself when it comes to drinking. That's a real painful realization, and I'm be honest with you, a lot of people won't go that deep. A lot of guys won't go that deep into self-improvement to try to be a better partner, but that's the reality of it, okay? And if he truly desires being a better partner to you, these are the things that he's going to do. He's going to try to improve as a partner, meaning he's going to identify the things that make him a worse partner, whether they affect him externally or internally, and he's going to try to change those things and actually adjust those things so that he can be a better partner to you on an ongoing basis. Not just apologize for it one time and then do it all over again because he's keeping himself in the same environment, doing the same thing on a hamster wheel, okay? We don't want you being with hamster wheel men, right? Where you're on a hamster wheel because you guys are doing the same thing over and over again and never seeing a different result, right? We don't want you doing that. We want you building and getting somewhere and moving forward with men, not looking back and saying, I have the same problems with you that I had from the very beginning of the relationship, okay? Right? Does that make sense to you guys so far, right? So number 1 was accountability. Number 2, direction. Number 3, reliability. Number 4, self-improvement. Number five here is perspective. Now, this is probably the most important one of today's show that I want you to be paying attention to and listening to. Perspective is so important because when a guy is capable of having perspective with you and in your relationship, he can actually take himself out of his own shoes, thoughts and mind, step into your shoes, thoughts and mind, in your body, your meat suit, and actually see things from your own viewpoint. This is so important because you'll waste a lot of time with men who aren't capable of having perspective. Why? Because anytime you feel wronged or you're upset, and the truth of the matter is you're a woman, so there's going to be things that upset you, okay? Even if they're small. When you become upset or emotional about a situation, he has to be able to step out of his own feelings and thoughts and into yours to actually understand what it is that you're going through. He has to be able to empathize with you. If he isn't capable of having perspective, what's going to happen is this. When you're in a relationship with him and you get upset at something he did or didn't do, or something he said or didn't say, you're going to now communicate to him what it is that is bothering you or what it is that you have a problem with. And he's going to say, well, that doesn't make any sense why that would bother you. Because if that was me, it wouldn't bother me. If I was in your shoes, it wouldn't bother me, or I wouldn't think anything of it, or I wouldn't be as upset as you are upset. But here's the problem, is that if he can only see things from his perspective and he's not capable of putting himself in your own shoes, then he'll never be able to validate your feelings, even if he is the one that wronged you, or even if you're the one upset or at him for something that he said or did. And because he'll constantly be of the position that, hey, I'm not the one upset or angry right now, so I can't think to myself what it must be like to be you who is upset and angry at me. I know it sounds very foolish and very silly, but a lot of men find it difficult to do this, right? Especially when you're a more emotional woman and they're a more quote unquote, like they're thinking more logically as a man. And so just their perspective might be different than yours. But the problem is that doesn't make your emotions any less real or how you feel any less valid because you're a woman and he's a man, or because he wouldn't feel that same way if it was him. And the thing about it is, when you feel wronged, and this is the amazing part about human beings, when you feel wronged and someone else doesn't feel wronged, it's very hard for a lot of people to take it as seriously or it to be as important to them when they're not the ones that feel wronged. But what you need in a relationship with a man is someone that actually feels like it's important when you feel wronged, when you feel upset. And even if they're not the ones that upset, they take the seriousness of you being upset or feeling invalidated or feeling hurt. They take it as seriously as if they were the ones upset, even if it doesn't necessarily upset them. So let me give you an example of exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So let's say, for the sake of example, you're someone that you really want, you dressed up really nice for this dinner and you wore this beautiful dress. You wore, he really likes the color red on you, so you wore a red dress, and you did your hair like he said that he really likes, and all this stuff that he really likes, because you guys were going on your anniversary dinner, let's just say for the sake of example. And on your anniversary dinner, when you guys were going out and you got all dressed up and stuff, he saw you and he was like on his phone like this. When he saw you came, walked out, you were all dressed up, and he looked at you and he was like, okay, good, you ready? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sure, yeah. Let's go. All right. You ready? You good? All right, let's go. Right? And he didn't say anything to you. He didn't have a face. He didn't acknowledge you. He didn't really acknowledge you. He didn't say you're beautiful. He didn't compliment you at all. And that upset you because you're thinking, I did my hair how you like it. I wore the exact dress that you like. I wore the color that you like. I did everything how you like it, and I couldn't even get a compliment from you. You barely even acknowledged me, okay? So this might be something that upsets you, but obviously he's not the one that didn't receive the compliment, that put in all the effort into the look. So he might not necessarily be angry at anything, right? But when you're communicating how you feel to him and how you feel upset by what he did or what he didn't say in this case, he has to be able to say, oh, I understand how you putting in all of that effort into your look for our anniversary. And on top of that, putting your look together in the way that you know that I like, and how I like you to dress, and the dress that I like you to wear, and the color. I see how disappointing that is when you put in all that effort into your look and you don't feel seen by me or acknowledged by me. And it was wrong of me to be on my phone, looking at my phone, and not really taking you in when you put all that effort into your look, right? I see why you're upset, and I apologize for that. And I want you to know that I did think you looked so beautiful in that dress, and you did, have your hair real nice, and you're absolutely stunning, right? So that is an example of someone being able to step outside of themselves and say, hey, even though it's not me that's upset, it's not me that feels hurt, it's not me that feels angry, right? It's you that feels upset, but let me step outside of what I feel for a second, because he might have maybe genuinely just had something to look at on his phone. But him having something to look at on his phone doesn't make you any less validated in the fact that you feel hurt or upset that he didn't acknowledge you. So the ability to say, I see your perspective, I understand where you're coming from, and I apologize for what I did. And in the future, I'll make sure to acknowledge you when you're putting in all that effort, just anytime, but especially when you're putting in all that effort into your look. I'll make sure to do that for the future, is so vital to the health on an ongoing basis of your relationship. It's so important that when you do express the feelings that you have, or the ways that you either feel hurt or upset by something he said or he did or didn't say or didn't do, that he understands that and is capable of, even though he's not the one upset, even though he's not the one that's angry, and even though for a guy, it might not necessarily affect him if he wore a suit and when he stepped out, you weren't like, oh my God, you look like the most handsome man on earth. Even if he was like, well, if that was me, I wouldn't really care if you said it or didn't say, it doesn't matter because you care. And your feelings are the ones that are hurt. You're the one that is upset in this situation. And so you need to have guys that are capable of having perspective, stepping outside of themselves, and seeing your own point of view. You're going to waste a lot of time building a relationship with a guy who can't do that, because you're going to be very frustrated when you're trying to explain to him, I know that you wouldn't care if I complimented you on your suit or not, but that doesn't mean that I don't care. And he'll be like, well, if I don't care, then you shouldn't care because I'm not hurt. So why are you hurt? It's about you should feel the exact same way about a situation that I feel, right? And so you end up hitting your head against the wall when you're trying to explain something to a guy who isn't capable of having any perspective outside of his own. Okay? Does that make sense? Right. Do all of those 5 points make sense to you guys in the show? So we had number 1 was accountability, number 2 direction, number 3 reliability, number 4 self-improvement, and number 5 perspective. Okay. Sweet says they'll say stop being so sensitive. Right. Because they can't understand why your reaction to something wouldn't be exactly what their reaction would be to it, right? And when they're not capable of having perspectives, it's just impossible for them to see things from your own perspective. They can only copy and paste their mind onto you and assume that if they feel a certain way about something, then that's the exact same way that you'll feel about that, right? But it's very hard to build relationships with those type of men, because how are you supposed to be a woman with your own individual feelings that are different from his, okay? Beatrix says, is that something that we should communicate when we're in a relationship or when we are getting to know someone? This is something that you communicate with someone that you're in a relationship with. The reason I say that is very important because I don't want you guys trying to over communicate with men who aren't even emotionally invested in you or the relationship. Because when I say, oh, you should communicate this with everyone from the moment you meet them, I know that a lot of you guys take that and start dumping on guys that are just here to smash. And I don't want you doing that, right? I want guys to show you that they're invested in you and the success of the relationship first. And then you can start giving them pointers on how to be an even better partner to you, knowing that they're going to take that information and actually implement it and do good with it. Not just, telling men, hey, I would appreciate it if you called me pretty and called me beautiful and this and that. And he's thinking to himself, I'm just here to smash. Like, you're giving me a bunch of stuff to do. Is this going to make it easier for me to smash? Because if it is, then I'll do it. But I don't know why you're giving me all these rules and statistics and things that you like. I don't really care about that. I just want to smash. So please, tell me what makes it easier for me to smash. Don't tell me any more than that, right? We just don't want you doing that with guys that don't care. And I don't want you fooling yourself into thinking that guys are invested in you because you tell them all of this, okay? So tell that to guys who are actually committed to you, not just random guys that you go on 1 or 2 dates with, okay? All the stuff today that we talked about, how to determine if he's worth your time, like I said, is not just stuff that you just come out on the first day and you automatically know, oh, okay, he's accountable, he's reliable, he's got direction, self-improvement, perspective. This is stuff that you can possibly just know on a very first date, unfortunately, which is why I say it takes time to learn someone, and just be patient with it. You'll get answers. You will get answers when you're learning someone. You're going to see some things you like. And if you ever see too many things that you don't like, you let that person go and you move on to the next person. Okay. Does that make sense? Jazzy says it's not that hard to communicate, but why they can't do it. Well, I mean, communication is one of those, a lot of the stuff that we even talk about in the Players Club, people might say, well, that's common sense. I think everyone should know that. I think that's pretty obvious to everyone. I mean, common sense is not that common. And of course, we're in the Players Club and we're having discussion today, and you guys aren't in love with me unless some of you are. But if you're not in love with me, it's a lot easier for us to talk about this stuff and you just be like, yeah, I mean, so simple, so easy. Yeah, implement it, do this and do that, Tomisin. It makes perfect sense. It's so easy to do. It's pretty simple knowledge. But you're not in love with me. So you're not in a relationship with me. So when you're in front of a guy that you're in love with and you're in a relationship with, or you're building something with, it's a lot harder to implement these things because they're not on the top of your mind, right? Then you start thinking about a whole bunch of other stuff. You're lubricated. You might have some wine in you. Now, you've got a second heartbeat in between your legs. And a lot of the thoughts and the stuff that we talk about on a regular basis might be just becoming a jumbled up mess, and you don't know what to do or what to say. And you just start making mistakes. We don't want that for you. Okay. We want, that's why we come here in the Players Club and we talk about this stuff damn near every day, so that you can have this in your mind and see me in your dreams when you wake up, when you take a shower. Every day you're hearing my voice and seeing my face. I'm haunting you. Okay. It never stops. That's what we want for you, so that you never lose sight of what we're discussing here. Okay. All right. Someone says, no, I've been in love for this whole time. I don't listen for the advice. That's pretty funny. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? Cass says, why when we are open of our feelings, they get easily upset and thought we are complaining or attacking. That's a lack of perspective. So that's exactly what I just said, right? When guys aren't capable of having a perspective outside of their own, they can only see the world as they see it. So if you're saying that you're upset because he didn't compliment you when you wore the dress that he said he liked, and you wore the color that he likes, and you did your hair how he likes, and he didn't even notice you or say anything to you, because he doesn't see the world that way, he might not understand why you're not upset, and he might say you're complaining when you say why you're upset. But in reality, that's your perspective, and you're validated in that perspective. And so if he can't see your perspective, then it's going to be hard to do anything with that guy in that relationship. Okay? Does that make sense? Aya says, can you go over the points again? All the points are available on my YouTube page, which is right above my head. It's just Tomisin Atobatele. Type in my name on YouTube. I'm live on there at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. Technology is amazing. And then you just go and you rewind it, and you can rewatch all the points in their entirety. Okay? It's right there for you. Okay? Just go into my YouTube page. Vicky says, it depends how you communicate. Are you attacking him or having a discussion? I think you're referring to someone else. But if you're talking about what we were talking about, how you communicate it to them definitely does matter. But like I said, you don't want to be trying to overly communicate with guys who are just trying to smash, because then you're losing there. Okay, we don't want that for you. All right, guys, let's hop into our next segment of the day, which is going to be our reacts segment. All right, we got lots of segments here to do. So we got our react segment here, where I react to TikTok videos and just videos around the internet, relationship related, that you guys have sent to me to react to. So we're going to start off with our first video here, and let me go and grab my headphones, and we're going to react to the first video here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All righty. So here we have, what's this guy's name? Benny. Okay. Benny is going to talk to us about why he won't chase. We're going to see what Benny says. Someone sent me this. I can't remember who sent me this. It was either in the Discord, or I've also seen some of you guys have just been tagging me directly on TikTok. I go through my mentions now to see if you guys tag me in anything as well that you want me, because I'm assuming you're tagging me because you want me to watch it. So thank you for those of you guys who mention me and stuff, and also send it in the Discord. If you guys want to, you can send videos into our Discord in our Tomisin React section, and I react to them if they're TikTok videos, okay? Because those are the easiest ones to just play for all of us, all right? So Benny is talking about why he won't chase you. Let's see what Benny has to say.
To chase you. You guys all say you want the secure guy that you can look up to, that's on his thing, that's on his A game. Those guys don't chase. They show interest. They're not going to chase you. You can't play games with a secure dude. He's just going to let you be and let you go. And if you're concerned about showing him interest, trust me, ladies, he is going to go with the woman who shows him interest and makes him feel like home. That's who he's going to go with. So if you're not going to show him interest, somebody else will. And if you're doing it for the sake of pride, or you heard from your friends, or heard from some TikTok that you should pull back and do all this shit, you are wasting time and sacrificing a good potential opportunity for long-term success inside of a relationship or potential marriage, because you're listening to the wrong information. That is not how you get a secure dude who's about his shit. You show him interest, and you even match his interest. If he shows interest, you show a little bit back. You start pulling back, he will leave you. And he's going to go with the woman and the girl who shows him a level of interest that he feels rewarded for when he shows interest. It's very basic, ladies. He doesn't have time to play games, nor will he, because he doesn't need to. He is just...
Okay, I want to actually even just pause. I know he didn't finish.
Women, if you make men wait.
Well, we don't need him today. Hold on. So I want to pause it on what he just said here, because actually, some of you might be thinking, "Oh, Tomisin, you're gonna disagree totally with what he said. Tomisin, you just showing interest is horrible, like you say. Don't show it." No, listen to what I'm saying here. You do want to show guys a little bit of interest. Now, you're doing that for a very specific reason. You don't want to discourage a guy from continuing to pursue you. Remember, I talked to you guys all about the analogy of a video game and how you start from level 0 and you build your way up over time. Now, even in a video game, even though you start from level 0, when you put in work for the video game, you do increase your rewards, increase your level, increase your respect, and all the stuff and resources that you get in the video game. So I say that to say, when a guy is pursuing you, it's not just him pursue, you do absolutely nothing. You basically ignore him and show him no interest whatsoever, because who in their right mind is going to continue pursuing you in that environment? You have to give him just enough that he feels like he's actually earned something. So this is where it becomes very important that you now become strategic about showing him interest when he does the things that you expect of him and you want to be ongoing in the relationship. So, for example, when he goes through the effort of planning, scheduling, and following through with a date, you show him interest back. How do you do that? When you get on the date, you seem interested and intrigued in the conversation. You ask him questions. You're extracting information. You're also learning more about him. And you come on that date with good energy. Make him feel good about himself. Make him feel like the man by saying, wow, you're so fascinating. You're so interesting. I love to get to know more about you. And I love hearing this and I love hearing that. All of that is a good positive feedback loop where he's saying, oh, so she is interested in me. She does like me. Remember, I also tell you guys, don't be heavy on the texting. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, but Tomisin, that's going to make it seem like I am showing a lot of interest. Or Tomisin, that's going to make it seem like this guy said, like Benny said, that I'm showing no interest or that I don't like him and he's going to lose interest in me and not talk to me anymore. No. The reason I want you to hold back on the texting is because we want you to make him feel like you're the most interested in him when he sees you in person. That way, subconsciously, right, he starts connecting the dots that, hey, if I want to feel like she's interested, I've got to see her in person, meaning I've got to plan a date with her. I'm not going to feel that interest from her if I just text her all the time, phone call her all the time, and do nothing else but only do that. Right? So you want to contrast the times where he doesn't feel interest with the behavior that you don't want to continue. But you also want to make sure that you're rewarding him by showing him interest for doing the behavior that you want to continue. And for the most part, in the beginning of the relationship, the behavior you want to continue is the consistency of trying to get to know you and pursuing you in the sense of asking you out on dates regularly. Okay. Now, just like Benny said, and it's very much true, if you show guys absolutely no interest whatsoever, you're going to kind of fall into the trap where he's going to be confused thinking that he's wasting his time. Right. Astro Keen said reciprocating, but you're reciprocating, and don't make this mistake. You're not reciprocating equal 50-50. Okay. You're reciprocating less than what he's doing, but enough to make it feel like he's getting somewhere. You just want him on an ongoing basis to feel like his pursuit of you is getting him somewhere, right? He's moving forward in your books and in this relationship with you by doing all of this for you. You don't need to be saying, oh, you do some for me, I'm going to go even over the top for you. You do a little bit for me, I'm going to do 10 times for you. Because what's going to happen is eventually he's going to start realizing, hey, I do a little, she does a lot. So let me just keep doing less and less and less, and she'll keep doing a lot. You don't want that type of balance. You want him to feel like, oh, I'm doing some and I'm getting some. Not necessarily exactly the same as what I'm giving, but I am getting somewhere. You still want to be a bit of a mean girl where he feels like he has to work for your attention and work for your interest. You just don't want it to be no reciprocation where it's like he feels like, oh, I don't even think she likes me. Like, I don't even think she wants us to be in a relationship. Okay. Right. 10 Way says, games, nice. I mean, you can choose to go about this however you want. Right. 10 ways. And you guys can say, hey, Tomisin, this is too much games. I just want to be my authentic self. However, you'll be asking all the other women in the Players Club, how do you get guys to be on their hands and knees, crawling on glass, trying to sniff your butthole? Because I see all these other guys are trying to do the absolute most for you, and they're giving you the princess treatment that I want. I didn't listen to Tomisin because I thought there was all games and manipulation, and I'm not going to do that. But I want the treatment that you're receiving. And then you're going to say, if you listen to Tomisin and you actually go about it, like how he talks about going about it, you'll get princess treatment. You can call it games, you can call it manipulation, but do you want princess treatment? Yes, I want princess treatment. I want princess treatment. Then you're probably going to want to consider doing some of the things that we talk about. If you don't care about princess treatment, then go about it how you want to go about it. Okay. Doesn't bother me. Okay. Let's see what else he had to say here.
It's very basic, ladies. He doesn't have time to play games, nor will he, because he doesn't need to. He is just too secure for it. The chasing won't happen. He will pursue. But if that interest is not reciprocated, and I tell you this, is not reciprocated, he will leave. You can take the L out of lover, he'll take the L and throw it at you.
The funny thing about this is that I don't know Benny, right? But I can guarantee you if Benny met the exact type of girl that he, you know, like his dream girl, like he really likes, think is beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, intelligent, a lot of the character traits that he would want in a woman. I guarantee you if he met that type of woman and he was doing most of the pursuing and her interest was like, oh, I like spending time with you and I like going on this date with him, but she wasn't really a big texter. She wasn't like going over the top buying him gifts or over the top calling him every day. I guarantee you he would still continue to pursue her. Why? Because he wants that woman. And as long as she's showing him enough interest that he knows he's getting somewhere with her and she's starting to like him, I guarantee you he continues to pursue. I guarantee you if he really wanted that woman, he wouldn't be so worried about, is the interest exactly 50-50 or is it exceeding my interest in my... No. He wants her. He knows he's going to have to do work to get her. He will do what's necessary as long as he feels he's getting somewhere. And that's honestly most men. When they really want a girl, they just want to be able to feel like they're getting somewhere by putting in that effort. They're not so worried about, is it 50-50 or is she doing even more than I'm doing? The only guys worried about, is she doing more than I'm doing, are the guys looking to extract from that woman and not actually invest into that woman. Okay, just to be so for real with you, all right? Let's go to the next video
I truly
sent to
wish
me.
you women understood the pain we go through when we truly like a woman. I don't know if you know this, but when a guy likes a girl, bro, we're in physical pain. Like somebody be like, bro, do you like her? And I'm like, bro, I like her, bro. I like her. Like we get so mad when we like a girl because we know it's raps. Legitimately go to her page on every social media platform and just look at her pictures. Be like, man, I'm talking to her, bro. I can't believe it. Like, I be cheesing, bro. I be so happy. Like, I look through everything. I want to search everything. I want to know everything about you. Like, I want to look through Facebook, Instagram, Snap. Like, I stock everything. I'm sorry. I want to see who your ex was. Why'd you go for him? What happened? Like, I want to know it all. But at the same time, bro, I get a lot more sensitive. I get more cautious with what I say. Like, legitimately, as a woman, you cannot mess anything up if he is interested in you. The only people that you can mess that up for is somebody that's kind of interested in you. You can't do anything. No small thing is going to stray him away from you, because when we really like a girl, you can legitimately exist and show like minimal effort and we're going to be like all over you because we want you so bad, right? So like that's when I'm like, man, when I really like a girl, those little things don't really bother me, and I start to overthink and be like, you know what? I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, and that's when I'm cooked, bro. I'm freaking fried. Because when a dude likes a girl, bro, we don't understand common sense, bro. Like, we're just like, I don't even know, bro.
I get what he's saying. He's speaking guy talk, so some of you guys like, I don't really understand what he's saying. But it's funny that this video, it's funny how they lined up. This video came directly after the last video because the last video, remember, the guy was saying, hey, if you show him no interest, he's going to get bored of you and he's going to move on and go to someone else and he's going to be, you know, it's going to be raps for you because you're showing him no interest. You got to show him interest or even exceed his interest in you. And this guy just said right here in his video, he said,
over you because we want
you so
he said really like
you basically have to do nothing.
You can legitimately exist and show like minimal effort and we're going to be like all over you because we're
It's funny. The last guy said, hey, if you don't show interest, we're going to get bored and we're going to move on. And this guy's saying, actually, when we really like you, you basically have to do nothing. And what do I tell you guys all the time? When a guy is interested in you and he's pursuing you, just do nothing. Guys are hardwired to pursue you when they like you and they want you. Now, obviously, there's a balance there. You're going to show him some interest so he feels like he's getting somewhere, like we just discussed, but just do nothing. Don't feel like you have to start stimulating, getting him more interested in you by doing more or saying more. Just do enough that he feels like he's getting somewhere with you. And as he feels like he's getting somewhere with you, he will continue to pursue you on an ongoing basis. All you have to be worried about is giving him a positive feedback loop for the actions that you want to continue in the relationship. When you see consistency, when you see him asking you out on dates, when you see him being respectful, when you see him being thoughtful, those are the times where you want to go over the top and say, I appreciate you. I see you. I like the things that you're doing right. It's like good boy type of treatment when you see him doing the right things. Other than that, you don't really have to do that much. Right? Aside from, when you're on a date in person, you want to bring some good energy. You want to ask him a lot of questions and seem intrigued and interested in him. So once again, he can start to get that feedback loop. When I see her in person, I have a great time. I enjoy myself. It's lots of fun. I get this great personality. Now over the phone, it might be a little bit dry, but maybe that's just because it's over the phone. And maybe if I see her more in person, I'll get more of that great, amazing personality. So all in all, in both videos, I tell you all, you do nothing, right? Obviously, you're strategic. You're going to show him some interest when he does the things that you want him to do, but you're never trying to go overboard. And you don't even need, truthfully and honestly, you don't even need to be worried about matching his energy. You just do enough so that he knows that you're interested back and allow his interest to continue to carry this relationship. I promise you, you'll be perfectly fine. And see how he's talking about when we like a girl, we're cooked and all that stuff. That's because you really can't control it. Once you start wanting to pursue a girl and you start liking her, it's wraps for you. Like he said, you're cooked. So you're just going to continue pursuing. And if you see the confirmation that she likes you back, you're just going to keep pursuing. You can't really stop yourself as a guy when you really want a girl.
So
I don't give a fuck what no grown man on this app say. They're lying their ass off. If
Okay.
your man likes you, you're in a relationship together, you boyfriend, girlfriend, and he likes you, keyword likes you.
Okay.
He's going to do whatever you say. He's going to do whatever you tell him.
Okay.
He's going to move when you move. I don't give a fuck how broke he is. If he going to make the motherfucking trees shake into some dollar bills fall off. And that's if he likes you. Oh, no, that's just how Jay is. That's how he act. No, that's not how Jay act. That's how Jay act with you because Jay don't fucking like you. Man, we are simple, ladies. We are not fucking complicated. Y'all make shit complicated because you want to fix him. And fellas, if you are in that...
Let me pause it here because what he's saying is true. And I don't... It sounds as simple as if he wanted to, he would. But what I want you guys to understand in a little bit more complex sense is when guys want to build a future with you, they care about like what you think about them now, if you're happy in this relationship now, because if they're here for now and the future, they want the relationship to be good for you in the future. So because of that, subsequently, they then do things and make adjustments so that they're a better partner to you in the future. Do you understand how that works? If I know I'm only going to be here for some fun or for a short amount of time or just until I can get a nut off, I don't really care about how you feel about our relationship. I don't really care if you're happy. I don't really care if things bother you. I don't really care about doing things for the future benefit of our relationship. Why? Because I just want to jackrabbit myself inside of you for 90 seconds or less, usually less. And then once I finish doing that, or I see a new shiny new toy, a shiny new girl that I can go and chase after, I go and be with that girl and I forget about you and discard of you. But if I'm actually invested in the long-term health of this relationship, I will gladly adjust myself, my behavior, or my approach to the relationship so that I can be a better partner for you. And that's where the if he wanted to, he would thing stems from. That's a really simplified version of it, but that's where it is. If I want the long-term health of our relationship, then I do things to ensure the long-term health of our relationship by being a better partner, which comes from making adjustments based on what you like, dislike, or what you need or don't need, right?
In that relationship, because I have been in that shit too, where I know for a fact this girl ain't nothing but a chapter in my life. Don't get me wrong. It was a very, very fun or a very enjoyable chapter. That was very fun. But that's not my end game. That's not my fucking wife. So just go ahead and tell her straight up, y'all not trying to date no more. You want to fuck around until your end game wife come along, bro. Stop wasting each other time. Get out that damn relationship. Save y'all yourself some time, stress, and money. And it's that simple. That's how relationships should all go. You like me? He gonna move.
I mean, yeah, like he said, I mean, I think at the end he was kind of speaking more to the guys, but yeah, if your man likes you, he will make adjustments for you, and he'll try to put his best foot forward, and he'll try to actually do things that benefit the long-term health of the relationship. If he doesn't like you, it's just not going to be on the top of his mind, and there's no way you're going to stimulate him caring about that when he's just not there mentally, which is exactly and precisely why I tell all of you beautiful souls, when you're meeting a guy and you're dating him, allow him to be his real authentic self. That way you can learn who he really is and make a determination on if you want to be investing your time and energy into him based on who he really is, not who you kind of like try to force him to be, right? You don't want to be turning a guy into your Prince Charming by forcing him to be that because you read that in a Wattpad story. You want to observe who the guy is you're actually dating and decide if he fits your already existing criteria. Okay, does that make sense to you guys so far? Make sure I'm up to date on the chat here. Okay. Next here, let's see our next video we got here.
No, my friend. We do not match energy. We do not do that. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying the science of attachment and attraction inside romantic relationships for nearly 20 years. And this is another edition of Carline Relationship Advice. Secure people don't match energy. I do not know why coaches teach this. It is ridiculous. Think about it this way. If someone is only attracted to you when you pull away, what's going to happen when you come back? They're going to lose that attraction. That's exactly what happens when people have fearful avoidant attachment. When someone gets close, they pull away. When someone pulls away, they want to come close. And it's this push, pull, tug of war game. And I see people every single day that are in a marriage where this is still happening. Did you know that the biggest nervous system regulator is authenticity? Showing up authentic inside of your relationships is the single biggest nervous system regulator that exists. And being securely attached means having a well-regulated nervous system. That is the difference between insecure people and secure people. Secure people are regulated. Secure people are unafraid to show up authentic. If they get quote-unquote rejected, they don't see it as a rejection. Secure people don't go, oh my gosh, what was wrong with me? They go, what was wrong with them? And then they walk back into their singlehood, in the relationship they built with themselves, where they can meet their own needs, where they can thrive, and they want a partner. It's not that secure people don't want intimacy. They have a healthy need for intimacy because it is a healthy human need. But they don't seek out intimacy at the expense of their own needs. So no, my loves, there's no matching energy. If someone pulls back, you say, hey, noticed your distance, just curious what's going on. And if they keep it up, then you walk away. You are going to exceed their energy. You are not going to match it. You're not going to pull back and wait. You're going to exceed it by walking towards someone who is capable of giving you the stability, the reliability, the attention, and the affection that you deserve.
Okay, I get what she was saying here. What she ended up actually agreeing with the initial point, which is that if someone pulls away from you, you also do that. It's just she was saying, don't do that on an... I think what she's trying to say, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Sarah was trying to say, is that you don't just pull back and then hope that you pulling back is going to get them reinvested and then go through the same cycle over and over again. You don't want to be on a hamster wheel. What you want to do is identify if someone is pulling back from you, then they're doing it for a reason. You give them an opportunity to maybe explain themselves. But if they're just going to continue doing that on an ongoing basis, you don't bother yourself by saying, okay, every time this happens, I'm going to pull back as well. And then when I pull back, then they'll come to me. And then I re-enter the relationship and then they pull back again. So then I have to exit the relationship again. No, you don't do a cycle, a hamster wheel of that. You allow people to show you who they are. You give them an opportunity. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they're going through some things, whatever it may be. But once you see that pattern of behavior, you just walk away from the relationship, right? You don't continue reinvesting yourself into someone and putting yourself on a hamster wheel and a roller coaster of emotion where you're just constantly up one day because you guys are together. Then you have to pull back one day because they pull away from you and you're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. No. You just recognize that type of, like she talked about matching the energy. You recognize that type of hot and cold energy where they're with you one day and then they pull away from you the next couple of days. You recognize that energy. And once you recognize that it's a pattern, then you just immediately walk away. So what she's talking about is the ability to identify the pattern. And once you identify the pattern, you walk away, not for him to come back and be re-interested in you again. You walk away for good now. So you don't go back or you don't pull away thinking I'm pulling away so you can be interested in me again. You don't allow the pattern of behavior to just go on an endless loop. Once you recognize it's a pattern, you say, no, now that I realize you're going to be doing this pulling away thing all the time, I'm just going to pull away for good and you're never going to see or hear from me ever again. That's what she means by exceeding the energy. So she's not saying that, if someone pulls away from you, then you should be all up in their face and you should talk to them 24/7 to make them not pull away from you. What she's saying is if you notice that pattern of behavior, you're not just going to mirror them and do the same thing back to them. You eventually have to actually just walk away from the relationship and look for someone who doesn't do that to you. That's what she is trying to say there. But I agree with that. Okay. Let's go to our next one.
Ladies, if we want men to start fixing up, we have to do things that make them fix up.
Okay.
We can't be letting them get away with murder. I've noticed something recently with a lot of women that
we can't let them get away with murder.
We are really starting to hold guys accountable. Like, if they do something bad, we're leaving. If they ask for a second chance, a lot of us are saying no.
Oh, really?
If they cheat, we're not doing second chances. We're not sleeping with men as easily. Don't get me wrong, I feel like with everything in life, there's always a 50-50 divide. More and more of us are sleeping with men easier, and the other half are going celibate. But
I wonder if people listen to American accents when they have a UK accent and they're like, they think that we talk ridiculously. Not that she's talking ridiculously. I just think that the way they pronounce words is so interesting. So I wonder if they feel the same way when we pronounce words. Like, because I'd be like, oh, they'll just to say, oh, really? And I'm like, how do you say that like that? Like, that's like, actually, you're actually serious?
But we cannot complain about the way they treat us, because although, yes, it should be down to them to change their ways and to work on themselves and get their ass to therapy and all that other jazz, but if they're not doing it, the only way men are going to start doing it is if they've got no choice but to do it. I.e., if we stop sleeping with them easily, if we stop getting with them easily, if we stop forgiving them easily, how are they going to start being self-reflective, self-aware, and basically start taking responsibility? How are they going to start doing that if we make it so easy for them to get away with murder? Like, how are they going to...
Murder.
Because yes, they should be able to do it. All the girls I know, they get themselves to therapy. Not because they're the problem, but because they dated somebody who was the problem, who refused to go to therapy.
Problem. How does she say that like that?
But we're doing that by ourselves. And granted, some men do, so of course I will make my standard claim of not all men. But again, very obvious, but a lot of men. And because of that, I'm noticing that loads of girls are doing the reflective work. Again, not because they're the problem, but because they've...
I gotta learn that accent. I gotta put that in my toolbox.
...dated people that are the problem. And the men aren't. So many men aren't. So many men are hurting women. That woman's leaving them, and then they're going and finding another woman.
Okay, so I don't want this to go on for too long, but I think what she's essentially trying to say is like we have to start like holding them accountable, because if we don't, then they're just gonna get away with what they want to get away with. Okay, and it's true. Like you have to. I talked to you guys about this before, but when you're dating guys, you have to be the one to say to yourself, if I want respect in this relationship, I have to stand up for myself and demand it. I can't hope and pray for this guy to respect me because, I'm a girl in 2024. You have to say, I'm going to demand and receive my respect one way or another. And if I have to put my foot down to demand that respect, then that's what I'll do. If that makes me look like a mean girl, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, I'll be a mean girl with some damn respect, not no fun girl that a guy's going to take advantage of and use and discard. Because the reality of it is that's what they do to the fun girls that say yes to everything, that want to be liked by everyone. They take advantage of them, they use them, they squeeze the life out of them, and then they throw them to the wayside, okay? And sometimes you guys come to me and you're like, but Tomisin, I wish he would just leave me alone. I wish he would just stop texting me. Why does he keep bothering me or reaching out to me if he knows he doesn't want anything serious and he doesn't want to build anything? Because you keep allowing it. And when you keep allowing it, he will say, why not waste her time? She keeps letting me waste her time. She keeps letting me get access to her, sleep with her, jackrabbit myself inside of her for 90 seconds or less, usually less. And in the process of me doing that, I bust crazy nuts. I bust crazy nuts. And I have such a good time while she counts the ceiling tiles. If she's going to continue letting me do that, why would I change anything up? Why would I be the one to stop myself because it's the wrong thing to do? I mean, if she says no, then I'll stop. But if she's going to keep allowing me to come back into her life, why would I stop? Okay? I'm not saying that to be mean to you, but I just want you to understand, like, you have to stand up for you. You can't be hoping that the guys who are taking advantage of you are going to be the ones who are going to stand up for you. That's just not how it works. You understand what I'm saying? So please know that. What does it say? When you're Miss Independent, we don't need no men era gets rudely interrupted by a 10 out of 10 who has green flags.
Shit.
And do you want to know why that is? And no, it's not because when you least expect it, it happens. It's because when you release control to the outcome and you are really fucking okay with just being by yourself and you know that people are an addition to, not instead of, then you can finally allow the right person into your life. More often than not, when we get into any kind of relationship or early dating, we are projecting onto this person all of these things that we want them to be. And we're holding on to the idea that this relationship has to work. But when you spend some time working on yourself and really just figuring out what it is that you want, where is it that you haven't found that yet, and what is the work that you can do on yourself, it becomes really freeing. And then that way, if you meet people, you know that your happiness isn't contingent on them being in your life. And this isn't about going through like a man-hating phase and never dating again. It's about understanding that reconnecting with the relationship with yourself is the number one thing to focus on when you are in your healing phase. And being open and receptive that the people you meet, they're coming in your life for a reason or a season. That you don't know how long somebody's going to be there, and enjoying it day by day so that maybe it could actually fucking grow into something.
I just don't be liking how much she be cursing, but it's okay. It's whatever. So, but I like the points that she be giving because I agree with a lot of the points that she gives. So, a lot of what she said here is true, right? And I talked to you guys about this. You don't become attached to any one particular person in the sense that, oh, it has to be you that I end up in a relationship with. And even if you're horrible to me, even if you treat me crazy, even if you're disrespectful and you're not at all what I'm looking for in a partner, I need this to work out with you because I want it to be you that I'm in a relationship with. No, you reside yourself to the fact that the person I'm looking for will fit the criteria that already exist in my notebook, in my template for what I'm looking for. And when I meet the right person, they will be fitting my criteria, not me making you fit the criteria, making the criteria what you are or how you treat me because it's you. Okay. And so I say that to say, in your relationships, that's why I think it was Friday when we talked about, the ways to present yourself and why looking for high value men, we don't want you to go to cocktail bars and country clubs if that's inauthentic to you, because that starts to put you in a mind frame where all of your validation is placed on if the guys notice you or want to talk to you. And I love, all the different dating gurus and relationship advice people that will give you advice. But here's the thing. When they give you advice, no matter who they are, when they give you advice and say, go to a country club or go to a cocktail bar or go to a whatever to find rich men, what ends up happening is you'll do a whole bunch of stuff that's inauthentic to you, like wearing a blazer, like going to a cocktail bar, like going to a country club. You'll sit down there and you'll be waiting for a guy to approach you. And you'll spend the next 2 hours at this cocktail bar or country club that you would never go to if it wasn't for you trying to meet a high value man. But what ends up happening is if that 2 hours goes by and no guy approaches you, you're going to be really, really frustrated, really mad, and really hurt. Your ego is going to be very hurt because you're going to say, I came here, I got all dressed up, I did my makeup, I wore the exact dress that someone told me to wear, I wore the exact type of blazer someone told me to wear, I did my makeup the way someone told me to do it, I did everything the way someone else told me to do it so I can attract a high value man. And I'm sitting here at this stupid cocktail bar, at this stupid country club with a bunch of old men smoking cigars. None of them paid attention to me. None of them came came up to me, or even the ones that did come up to me, didn't ask for my number. This was such a waste of my time. I spent 2 hours at the stupid country club. I spent another 2 hours getting ready, and this was all a dumb waste of time. I don't have anything to show for the entire day I wasted trying to attract a high value man. And you're going to get really frustrated with yourself and with your dating life. And you know what's going to happen the moment a guy does come up to you? Let's say a high value man comes up to you on your way to the grocery store after you come back from the country club. You're going to have such horrible energy. Why are you coming up to me? Don't ask me where the cereal aisle is. Can't you see the sign up there says cereal? Go get your honey bunches of oats in aisle number 7. Don't ask me where to get the cereal. I'm not going to talk to you. I don't have any time for this. Okay. And you're going to be so angry at the world because you wasted 2 hours of your day at a stupid country club and nobody approached you. Right? And you see how that actually stops you from meeting the man you're supposed to meet because your energy's all off. And you spent so much time being inauthentic to yourself. Now you're upset at the world because you wasted time being inauthentic to yourself and it didn't yield you any results. As opposed to just going out and doing things that you already enjoy in places that you already like spending your time, wearing what you already like wearing and feel confident in, and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I feel sexy, I feel amazing, I feel beautiful, I am me. And then when a guy approaches you, one, for being you, which is authentic to you, you have the type of energy where you can actually meet someone and they're like, yo, I'm attracted to you. I love your energy. I love your spirit. I love your confidence. I want to know more about you. I want to see you again. I want to take you out on a date, right? Because energy is a huge, huge part of that. Don't ever mistake anything that we talk about here. If you're wrong and off on your energy, you're going to lose out on a lot of great men and meeting a lot of great men because you're thinking, oh, it's all about how big my dump truck is and nothing else. It's not all about that. All right. Gloria says, why are we even going to country clubs? Well, see, this is the thing. Some relationship gurus and experts, I'm just a regular person, so maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about and they're all right. But a lot of them will start recommending to you, hey, if you want to find rich men, high value men, go to a country club, go to a cocktail bar, go to a this, go to a golf course, go to a this, go to a that. And, you know, I just like to say, stay authentic to yourself, because the reality of it is you can meet a high value man in a lot of different places. Okay. It's not just a country club, not just a cocktail bar. Okay. Excuse me, right? Someone says, what are country clubs? Country clubs are, it's like, so when people go golfing and stuff like that, the country club is next to the golf course. So it's like the hangout spot on the golf course. A lot of guys, so if you think about it, since a lot of rich men go golfing, right? It's kind of like a higher middle to high class kind of activity. A lot of richer men would be hanging out at country clubs because country clubs are kind of connected to like golf courses and stuff, right? That's the idea. Okay. Let's go to our next video.
As the man, you
Oh man, it's this guy again. Let's see what he has to say.
will be expected to plan the date, and you will be expected to move the relationship in the direction of a sexual encounter. Women rarely do either. In fact, if you leave it up to them, what is the date that most women propose? Let's meet for a coffee somewhere in the middle. The impracticality of a sexual opportunity in this idea is no accident. It's by design. As I've discussed, in the negotiation phase, women are attempting to secure as many resources for as little sexual opportunity as possible, while men are attempting to secure as much sexual opportunity for as few resources as possible. And anchoring at this point in an initial interaction all but ensures a less satisfying relationship for the man. Meeting for coffee halfway is the female equivalent to just coming over for sex, which women typically don't do. So take a page from the ladies' playbook, gentlemen, and don't agree to courtship interactions in which sexual opportunity doesn't exist. As the man, you will be
You know, the thing that confuses me about this guy is his page is called Psych Hacks, and he's actually supposed to be like an actual licensed psychologist. And it worries me a little bit, like this is what actual licensed psychologists are going to be telling to paying clients. So can you imagine, like, someone is actually paying him like $300 an hour to give them this advice? Don't say yes to a coffee date Because if you say yes to a coffee date, you're losing the war. And that is an opportunity for that woman to extract resources from you without getting sex in return. I can't believe that people pay for that information. You know, like, no offense to Mr. Orion. I'm sure he means well, and I'm sure he's trying his absolute best in life. But I just, I can't stand by that. Even as a guy, I wouldn't be advising guys to be like, hey, the best relationship for you is a relationship where you go out and you make sure you say no to a coffee date because you want to be extracting pineapples from her as quickly and efficiently as possible. Well, I mean, if you just want to mess around with the girl and sleep with her, yeah. But he's talking about relationships as if in a relationship, what a guy should be seeking very first before he does anything for a girl is pineapples. And I just, how can, let's play it again, because maybe I didn't hear
expected to plan the date, and you will be expected to move the as the man, you will be expected to plan the date, and you will be expected to move the relationship in the direction of a sexual encounter. Women rarely do either. In fact, if you leave it up to them, what is the date that most women propose? Let's meet for a coffee somewhere in the middle. The impracticality of a sexual opportunity in this idea is no accident. It's by design. As I've discussed, in the negotiation phase, women are attempting to secure as many resources for as little sexual opportunity as possible, while men are attempting to secure as much sexual opportunity for as few resources as possible. And anchoring at this point in an initial interaction all but ensures a less satisfying relationship for the man. Meeting for coffee halfway is the female equivalent to just coming over for sex, which women typically don't do. So take a page from the ladies' playbook, gentlemen, and don't agree to courtship interactions in which sexual opportunity doesn't exist.
I'm sorry, because I just don't okay. I really need, we might have to actually break this down. I don't understand what I don't understand his purpose. So someone was like, oh, he's a red pill guy, but I don't understand what he's doing here. If he's red pill guy, then just go full red pill and say, women are only useful to be able to be penetrated and stuff like, but it's like he's describing how guys should build relationships from, like, he's almost like trying to do it from a psychological standpoint and the overall aspect of how both parties view relationships. But then he's like recommending that for the men to have good relationships, they should constantly be hammering home that their whole pursuit should just be about extracting pineapples. I just, like, how is that even if you're red pill, how is that good advice? Like, even if you were saying, okay, men, this is how you build relationships, realistically, what you want to be doing in every relationship is extracting information, not trying to extract pineapples from a woman as quickly as you possibly can because of the marketplace is not going to do you any better in the relationship. Like, I just feel like once again, you guys know me, I'm a logical person. So there has to be some, like, sense to, like, what we're doing here. How does it even make sense to, as a man, be approaching relationships and solely be worried about extracting pineapples as quickly as possible? Because you're not going to necessarily have better relationships because you extract that quicker. So what's the purpose then? He's just saying guys should do that because the marketplace? I just don't understand. I'm shocked that he's really a licensed, maybe he's lying, because I guess it's the internet, right? Yeah, maybe he might be lying. But he'd be saying, yeah, Psychax, he is a licensed psychologist. Wow. Licensed psychologist, huh? Yeah, it's, he's got, what's funny too? I checked out his YouTube. He has like 600,000 followers on YouTube. That's no joke. No joke. Yeah,
As the man, you will be expected to plan the date, and you will be expected.
I confused. Tomisin confused. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, was there another one that was
In
here?
my opinion,
I think it was, you guys can all thank Ivy, because Ivy sent in all of these. This is where I'm getting these from.
It's better not to ask a woman for anything she's not willing to do. And if you think, Orion, well, why the would I be in a relationship if she's not willing to do the thing that I want her to do? And I would answer, yeah, why the would you be in that relationship, my dude? Go out and find someone who wants to do the thing you want them to do. Like, that's the secret. As I say in my book, 90% of a successful relationship is selection. Find the woman who enthusiastically wants to do what you want her to do. Trust me, she's out there, though you may have to improve your value proposition to find her. And you may be able to find her in today's day and age, though you will still need to sift through a lot of chaff to discover her. And there it is, gentlemen. To lead your woman, you need to be more competent than she is, and you need to learn how to give orders that neither cannot nor will not be disobeyed. In my opinion,
sometimes I don't even be understanding like what he be talking about, because what he talked about in the first half of the video is, I guess it's just a clip, but like the second half of the video is like totally unrelated to what he talked about at the beginning. So I just
an age, though you will still need to sift through a lot of chaff to discover her. And there it is, gentlemen. To lead your woman, you need to be more competent than she is, and you need to learn how to give orders that neither cannot nor will not be disobeyed. Competent.
So what if you're dumb as a man? What happens then? I don't understand. Like, so you should only get girls stupider than you so that you can be more competent than them?
She is, and you need to learn how to give orders that neither cannot nor will not be disobeyed.
I think what he's confusing here, having boundaries with giving orders, because I mean, like when you're in a relationship, there's nothing wrong with having boundaries, but you can't force someone to do something because that's what you want them to do or how they want to live their life. I don't really understand. I don't understand. And the thing is, he's a psychologist. I just don't understand how he can break down relationships on such a poor level, like poor level of communication, poor level of like articulation. Like he's not even explaining his points coherently that can even be received properly. I just, how do you go to school for that many years and not, I don't know. So maybe TikTok's not for everyone. Let's see. I had some that I miss some? Cause let me go through here and make sure I didn't miss any. Did we do this one? Yeah, 6 ways. Oh, I think we didn't do. There was a Jimmy Speaks one that I don't think we got a chance to do, and I wanted to do it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, if narcissist was honest. Okay, let's see this one.
Research shows that what men do in a relationship is by a large margin the crucial factor that separates a great relationship from a failed one. This does not mean that a woman doesn't need to do her part, but the data proves that a man...
Yeah, we did do that one. Let's see. Oh no, the rest of these are food. This is from my... I just be liking videos for food reasons to go to different food spots. That's food stuff. We don't need to watch my food save videos. Questions with, oh no, that's nothing to do with. Did I do this one? Yeah, I did that one too. Wound mapping. I did that one too. That one is, did we do this one?
Things girls do that guys love. And when I say love, I mean love. Always feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Back scratches and head scratches are like a fucking weakness to them, okay? Especially when you got the nails, it's like euphoric. Shooting your shot, okay, guys?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's not... It's not facts. It's not facts.
I fucking love when girls shoot their shot. When there's like sexual tension between a girl and a guy in a room because they're like about to kiss. Are we about to kiss right now? You know? And then the girl says like, just kiss me already. Or something along those lines to initiate the kiss. He'll die. I promise you he'll die.
Wait. She tried. Sahar tried to sneak it in. Wait a second. No, wait a second. Do not go into your relationships shooting your shot. Don't do that. Do not do that. You want to know why guys love that? Because they know they don't have to do nothing. Okay? There's comments in here. Don't let any of these people in the comments, how do you know so much? They're tricking the girl.
These are some things, guys. These are some subtle things you can do to make someone nervous.
Let me go back to where we were.
These are some These are some things guys wish. Things girls do.
They're tricking the girls because if girls shoot their shot, then what do you think guys get? They get exactly what they want without doing any of the work. Please don't make that mistake. I'm sure Sahara means well, and this is from 2021. I'm sure she was probably younger. She probably thought this too as well at one point. Shooting your shot, guys only get excited for that because they're like, oh my God, easy pineapples. I have to do no work. My pee-pee is going to stand up now because this is going to be so easy for me. And I'm very close to being able to penetrate and jackrabbit myself inside of her. And she's doing all the work for me. I don't even have to do any of the work myself. That's what gets them excited. So the excitement she's talking about is not the excitement in the mind. It's the excitement of the thing in between his legs, probably small.
When there's like sexual tension between a girl and a guy in a room because they're like about to kiss. Are we about to kiss right now? You know? And then the girl says like, just kiss me already or something.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Along those lines to initiate the kiss. He'll die. I promise you he'll die.
Yeah, he'll die because he knows he's about to hop right into your warm squirtle. Okay? That's why he's dying inside.
During a hug, like the upper hand hug, when a girl like brings her hands down on her chest when she like releases the hug, that shit fucking kills them. Okay, I don't know if they noticed it specifically, but like, do it.
I mean, yeah, that's not facts but that's flirting. It's like flirting 101. But that's a good one that she mentioned. I don't know why she snuck in the shoot the shot one.
Things girls do.
The other two were fine. The sneaking, the shoot your shot one in there, that was like came out of left field. I don't know why she mentioned that one. Don't shoot your shot, okay? Please don't. Let's see here. I think we did that sure one. Stop being nice. Yeah, that was all the ones we had for today. Okay, let's move on to our next segment. Okay, chat? It's an amazing segment here. Do you guys know what time it is? I want to know in the chat if you know what time it is. Let me know if you know what time it is. It's a very special time. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We got a lot of questions to do in this time. Can you spam in the chat what time it is? I want to know in the chat what time it is. If you're new here, you might not know, but I'll tell you. Okay, chat, let's hop right into it. For those of you who are unfamiliar and have no idea what we're doing here, Discord time is essentially when all the amazing members of our Discord Players Club community get an opportunity to ask me a relationship question, and I answer it live on the show and give you advice on it live on the show. Now, there's a couple ways that you can submit your relationship advice question to the show. You can either do it by going into our free section and asking your question where I answer it on a first come, first serve basis. But I do want you to keep in mind there are hundreds of questions, or probably like 100 questions that I still haven't answered, and it's maybe less than that. And I have to go through them first before I get to yours. So it's going to take me like a couple weeks before I can get to your question if you ask it today in the chat, okay? And you do that by going into the link in my bio on TikTok. You join the Discord, you ask your question there, and you can do the same with the link in my description on YouTube as well. Now, for those of you who are like, wait, Tomisin, I don't want to wait weeks for you to answer my question. I'm so impatient. I want you to answer it in the next like day or two. that's perfectly fine. You have another option, which is to submit your question into premium relationship advice, which is the same relationship advice in our Discord. It's just it's like a VIP pass at a theme park where you get to skip the line. And instead of waiting for me to get to all those other people, you get to get your question answered first before I go into the free section. So clearly you can see a lot of people like to take advantage of that. All you got to do to get access to relationship advice premium is to go into the same link in my TikTok bio or the link in my pinned comment or description, and you go to where it says premium relationship advice. You click that link and you're going to fill out your Discord username and the title of your question, and you donate to the show. Just to show that, that's what we do for the premium Discord questions. And that way you will get access to premium Discord, and I'll be able to verify that that's you, that's your username, and that's your question. That way we avoid people putting in random questions and saying, hey, I donated to the show. That's me. That's my question. Can you answer my question? Right? That way it's fair to everyone. Now, for those of you who also are such private people, you're like, Tomisin, I love you and I want to get answers from you and get your advice, but I don't want you to put my business all out on Front Street on the show. You can also ask ask me a question and I give you advice privately through email. All you have to do is go to the same link in my TikTok or the link in my bio on YouTube. And when you go in there, click where it says private relationship advice, you fill out the form, you donate to the show, and then I give you a private response via your email, and I send you a voice message. And it's usually around 10 minutes long. So very detailed, very specific to your situation, okay? So you have options there. Let's head over into our first relationship advice question, which starts with bubbly mornings, okay? So bubbly mornings is long. Bubbly morning starts off by saying, more advice needed, please. Hey, Tomisin, it's me again. Don't know if you remember me. I'm the 34-year-old Asian who met a 39-year-old Spanish guy in my country, and I've been talking to him for the last 4 to 5 months. And that was your old question. Thank you. In the above, I asked about meeting halfway to see him again. You congratulated me for being textbook and told me to keep doing what I'm doing. Thanks for your advice. Ever since I asked my first question, he's attempted to open up the being a couple conversation twice by saying something along the lines of, this is why we would make a great couple. What do you think? As a response to something we were talking about. I feel he isn't direct right now because he brought it up in July. He was very direct with me and I got jumpy about it like a kitten. Okay. I wasn't ready then. I was still seeing other people, not anymore. I stopped talking to others after the second week of August to focus on this one. He doesn't know this. He has high IQ. I get the feeling he says these couple of remarks to gauge where I'm at right now. I smile and nod in agreement. If you are wondering why I'm not biting whenever he gives me the perfect opening for this exclusivity topic, this is why. Although I really like him, and also I really like how he brings out the soft side of me because I feel safe and would want to be in a relationship with him based on what I know so far. I feel the need to see him again in person first before this exclusive couple conversation. I need to know that he is intentional enough to make an effort and actually come and see me. But I don't want to say this outright as a demand. I want to observe how he will naturally take action. So when he makes these couple of remarks, I want to know I'm open to being a couple with him and how I'm coming across. But I also don't want to engage in full discussion before I see him again in real life, because it will be a full discussion that is best done in person. Due to the long distance factor, the discussion will involve talking about logistics, what our needs are, how to plan to meet those needs from afar, when we should come to see each other, where we see this going, and if that vision is all worth the sacrifice and the effort. Okay, so you're a thinking woman. That said, 3 weeks ago, he brought up the traveling thing and meeting halfway again during a video call. So glad I had already gotten an answer from you, Tomisin, and I was able to apply your advice. I very warmly expressed I would love to see him again and spend time with him in person, as we are both enjoying each other's company, but at this point, I'm not able to travel outside of the country to see him yet, emphasis on yet, considering where we're at. I also told him that culturally it would send the wrong message to my family if I were to travel with some guy they've never even met. It would have been seen as some form of disrespect. I'm in my early 30s, still holds true. Like you predicted, Tomisin, he was very receptive, just as he's been so far with my boundaries. He was listening and I was speaking. I could already see the wheels of his mind turning. He even thanked me for being honest because he told me that is the only way he can come up with a workable solution. This is great. This is great. This is going great so far. By the end of it, he said, okay, so if I want to see you again, I will need to come all the way to you. It's funny how guys come up with the answer themselves. You didn't even have to tell him. Would you be open to traveling with me within your country? Told him yes, but he'd have to meet my parents for that to happen. Okay, fair. He was quiet for a minute. He was deep in thought. And honestly, it took all I had to not justify the situation or explain myself to fill in the silence, but I kept my mouth shut. Finally, he spoke and asked, how long would you need to know in advance to take a vacation leave from work if we travel somewhere together there? I was pleasantly surprised that because that question connected, he was open to meeting my parents. Anyways, that 4-hour video call was 3 weeks ago. We haven't video called since because of my schedule and the time difference. I've been very busy on weekends and we never video call while doing other things like cooking or cleaning. We are always fully present. We treat it like a date. But since that video call, he texted me the following important updates, aside from the voice message notes, a bantery text that we have. You put this in bullet form? Wow, you really serious about this. The week after our call, he checked the paid vacation leaves he has left and told me it's not enough. He needs more than 1.5 weeks to spend with me, and we will try to figure things out. I told him thanks for updating me. 2 weeks after our call, he told me the travel plans are becoming clear to him. I replied, this makes me happy. Then he also told me he is thinking of resigning from his job. Okay. Or taking an extended break and talk to his immediate supervisor already. Now, I forgot to say that during our video call, he told me if he was working remotely, he would already be living in my city near me. And if you remember, he was also thinking out loud about finding a job in my country on our third date. To this news, I replied that he is an intelligent man and I trust he will do what he deems is best. Okay, I do want to pause us here. This is great that he's being so intentional, but you don't want a man to sacrifice his whole life for you. Not that it's good that he wants to sacrifice, but like you don't want a man to sacrifice his ability to make money because he wants to spend time with you. So like, cause that's actually going to end up hurting you more than it does helping you. And I know that he means well, but just saying, oh, F my job, I'm just going to go find a job in your city that's not the move. Okay. He can look for a job in your city while he still has his job, but let him find a job first, make some money. And then, you know, if that helps your relationship, him being closer to you, that's good. But you don't want him to then be like, oh yeah, F my job. I like you so much. I'm just going to, you know, say whatever to my job and go be with you. And that's my life now, because that's a lot of pressure on you. And that's a lot of pressure on your relationship if he's making all of those decisions because of you. Because you don't want, I know that he's been a good man to you so far. You just don't want to put yourself in a situation where if things go wrong in the relationship, or if you're like, oh, you know, I don't like this, or this makes me uncomfortable, he starts saying, well, I quit my job for you. I did this for you. I did that. Not that necessarily he would say that, but like, you don't want him to have no job because he's saying, I want to be with you. So I would actually discourage him from quitting his job to just be with you. Now you can encourage him to, of course, you know, spend more time with you and figure out how he could work, but also spend time with you. But I don't want you to start encouraging him to like just quit his job and say, move here first and find a job here. Like find a job first, get some money from the new job. Then you can say, quit the old job. Don't just quit and say, all right, now I'm here. Okay. Then this past week, he told me he was going back to his childhood hometown to see his parents and speak with them. He didn't give me more info, so I didn't interrogate him because I know he will tell me more when he is ready to share. I wished him luck. It's been 6 days and he is still there in his hometown and I haven't heard from him yet. him yet. I haven't texted to ask how he is doing and wished him luck. I wasn't anxious about this until my friend started telling me that he is ghosting me and I should block him. Since we met on Bumble, she even told me to check the app right then and there if his location was in his hometown so we could screenshot it in case he was lying. Well, in fact, he was in his hometown. She advised me to call him and get answers. I'm confused. If he the dating app can be looking at your location even if you're not opening it. It can be looking at your location in the background. So we can't necessarily assume that because the location updated that means he's on the dating app. I don't, you know what I mean? I just don't want you to make that assumption because apps can be capturing your location in the background. Just keep that in mind, okay? But if you're saying that you expected him to have it deleted from his phone, then that's a totally different story, okay? Tomisin, my gut is telling me to ignore my friend's advice, give him the benefit of the doubt, and just let him be. I feel like the man is thinking through a lot of things right now, going through his own process, and I need to give him time without breathing down his neck. Also, I'd like to trust the emotional connection we developed. Please tell me if I'm doing things right so far, from the couple of conversations down to giving him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, well, I will say, I think this is a situation where you want to just take a deep breath, because if you think about the logic here, if that guy was talking about quitting his job and moving closer to your city, it's not likely that what you're seeing of the dating app is exactly what you think you're seeing, okay? And like I said, the location being in his hometown could just be a function of the app updating in the background. Now, if there's an expectation that neither of you should have dating apps, that's a totally different story, okay? Because obviously the app can only update his location if he has it downloaded on his phone. So that might be a conversation to have. However, you don't want to make it seem like you were stalking his location and things like that. So I think the best way to go about that is to get an updated answer on what he feels about the situation as it currently stands and what he's okay with. I do think that while I know that you meant well in terms of like, hey, come meet my parents if you want to come visit me and stuff like that. I think that there is an order of operations and you should allow him the space to meet you and spend some time with you in your country, right, where you're already comfortable without the additional pressure of meeting your parents, okay? Not that, it's a bad thing that you asked that, but, you just want to let things, escalate after a while. It doesn't have to be everything at once, right? Just keep that in mind. The trust we develop. Please tell me if I'm doing the right things. That said, I do want to set a boundary with him moving forward that he needs, if he needs time to space to think, I'd appreciate him giving me a heads up for the sake of healthier communication. How do you do this in a feminine way without it sounding like an ultimatum? So the next time that he reaches out to you and talks to you, you can mention that, hey, I was a little bit confused on like what was going on because you didn't really update me on like where you're at or what you had going on. And I was expecting an update, but you just didn't give me anything. So that I was pretty confused then. Now, you leave that to him. When I say leave that to him, you just mention that you were confused because of that. That way he can fill in the gaps and say, oh, my apologies. I didn't realize that you were confused because of me not communicating. I'll know in the future that when I go out and I do this or I do that, I'll make sure to give you more of a heads up and communicate with you so that you know what's going on with me, right? Usually when a guy has interest in you and you tell him ways that you're uncomfortable, he will take the step forward to figure out how to not make you uncomfortable anymore. See, this is really hard with guys that don't like you, but I think for the most part, you being in a situation with a guy that wants to be in a relationship with you, when you express discomfort with something, he will then say, okay, I'll make sure to not do that again or adjust behavior so you don't feel like that again. So it's not that hard. Also, if when we travel together in my country, I'm thinking we should have separate rooms. Yes, do that. Yeah, do that. I don't plan on pineapples still, even if he comes all the way here. Do you agree with this? I'm not purposely trying to be difficult here. I don't want him to feel rejected, but I feel it's too soon for that. He's never talked to me about pineapples though. So if he somehow gets that I'm not about it. Not sure if I would say this lightheartedly, like, oh, sharing a room is asking for trouble, or be serious about it. I think that you should be straight up. Like, I want to spend this time with you, and I want us to go out and enjoy our time together. However, like, I just don't want us to share a room so that we don't fall into the trap of doing anything that we're not ready for. And I feel like if he's ready for a serious relationship with you, and this is your first time really spending some real quality time together, that's perfectly fine. Okay. And it's not gonna prevent him from spending time with you, being in your room, you guys having some fun and having some quality time, just because you guys don't sleep in the same bed. And if he is too angry or upset at that idea, or hurt at that idea, or his ego's too hurt that he doesn't want to follow through with going out together, or going on this trip together, even though it's in your own country, or seeing you because he's not going to sleep in the same bed as you, then I feel like that there's a lack of maturity there, where he's not even ready to do anything for real, like build with you for real. Like, not sleeping in the same bed with you shouldn't be such a deal breaker for him that he doesn't want to travel, okay? Because that's ridiculous. As for separate rooms, it would be nice if he would pay for it, but I can also cover it because I never want him to feel like I'm treating him like an ATM. What do you think? I think that part is fair. That, of course, he's, like you said, you did say also, though, that this trip, like, you're going to be traveling just within your country. But I do think that if you're going to recommend the separate rooms, I'm not saying that you necessarily have to jump out the window and say, I'll pay for it. But you do want to be like, I have no problem paying for the room, right? And just leave that to him. If he just says, okay, then I guess you can pay for your room. And if he says, no, I really want to pay for your room and make sure you're okay, then allow him to pay for your room and just kind of gauge where he is. Because you're right. You don't want it to be like, hey, I want us to be in a separate room so I can do whatever I want, but I want to make sure you pay for it. You understand? Like, you do want to make it seem like you're not doing this because you want to take advantage of him, but because you want to be, you want to treat the relationship with care. So I would say have the option to do both, right? But don't make an expectation either way. So don't come into it saying, I'm definitely going to pay for the room, and don't come into it saying he's definitely going to pay for the room. But give yourself the ability that, like, if you needed to pay for the room and he didn't necessarily just come out and offer it, don't go out of your way and be like, so aren't you going to pay for my room? Just go ahead and do the trip paying for the room, okay? I don't think that there's anything wrong going on when you go on a trip with someone, if you're having separate rooms, that you pay for your room, okay? I don't think that that's a crime, right? Last concern, does the pacing, meaning not seeing, that's assuming that the guy is serious about you. This is not for those of you who are in situationships with guys that don't really care about you, all right? This is for her specifically. Last concern, does the pacing, meaning not seeing each other too often or so he has space to miss me, still apply to in-person meetings in a long-distance setup? Is it okay to spend as much time together while he is here? Of course, I want to spend all my valuable, available, and limited time with him, but I don't want him to think I'm some mundane girl with no life outside of him. That is not true at all. Any other advice is welcome. Thank you so much. Okay. Then you say, update. He called me today and he was very sorry for not getting in touch with me sooner. He said lots of work and family related stress happened and he needed time for himself after dealing with that. He is coming to my country at the end of October and staying for a month. He thanked me for being patient with him. He actually said at one point during the call, I was worried about calling because I expected to receive your anger, but you're actually calm. Did you even miss me? That's pretty funny. Okay, so here's the thing. You've done a lot of good stuff right here so far, bubbly mornings. Now, in terms of the time that you have to spend with him when you're in person, there's nothing wrong with extending the time that you spend with him in person. Obviously, you guys aren't going to see each other all the time, so there is a bit of a balancing act that you're going to have to play there, because since you're not seeing him all the time, going on a 2-hour date, and he's not going to be able to see you for the next 3 months, that can be quite frustrating. So there's going to be a balance there. You don't want to, obviously you're going on the trip to see him and spend time with him. Here's the thing that I have actually done when I've gone on trips with people, okay? Even while you're on the trip, not every second of the trip has to be spent together. And I know this is going to sound weird, But there are some times where you can just like, you know what I mean? Like you're in your room getting ready, I'm in my room getting ready, or I have a couple hours where I'm just doing something by myself. And it doesn't have to mean just because you go on a trip together that every hour and every second of every day is spent together. I know that that might sound weird to you, but those of you who have gone on trips with whether it be friends or just like close friends or even partners understand what I mean. There can be hours in the day or time periods where you're not necessarily, you know, attached at the hip, spending every second together. And I think that's good to just balance it out, right? You don't need, it doesn't need to be a 24-hour time clock where you're always together, especially when you're just getting to know each other, because that can become I know it sounds weird, that can become a little bit irritating. You have to kind of grow into that amount of seeing someone, and you don't want to get agitated with them by like going from never seeing them to seeing them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. It sometimes when you're seeing someone that long for that amount of time, they start to agitate you. You don't want that. Okay. So while you go on this trip, of course, you're going to be spending extended time, but take like, you know, an hour or two during the day or during the night where it's like there's time just for you. And to spend, even if you go out and you explore or you go shopping or whatever, like just do a little bit for you. Maybe you want to take an hour, you want to read, you want to take some time, you want to do just something for you. Do something for you. It's not a crime just because you guys are on this trip together. You can have your own time as well, okay? It also leaves him space to say, I want to join you. I want to see you. What were you doing? I want to spend more time with you as well. It's good. It's good to have that even in the time that you're spending outside, like when you're finally seeing each other after being long distance. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Especially on a trip. Aside from that, I think you're doing a lot right. And like you said in your update, he did end up messaging you. So it was like, you know, there was not really anything to fear there. He was just really busy with work. I think if you guys are both two, adults, like you said, in your 30s with work life and things to do, there's nothing wrong with, you know, some days it's not going to be as heavy or intense as other days. And you're not always going to be able to video chat and talk at the same pace as every other day. But I think for the most part, based on what I know about this relationship from previously and in your message now, and this has been happening for about 4.5 months, this is moving at a perfectly normal pace. And things are going well. And I don't see any glaring red flags that would make me think that there's something wrong with him. Now, obviously, you do want to keep an eye on this dating app situation because at a certain point, it's going to become inappropriate to continue having dating app profiles. But that's just something I think for now to monitor and see how that continues to go. Because I don't know if you mentioned here, but if you're seeing him on the dating app because you still have the dating app, then what are we doing here? But if you guys transition to a place where you're actually meant to be exclusive, then for sure, this dating app thing is going to have to be something that either gets addressed or you're going to have to see what he feels about it to get an understanding of if he's really serious here, because that can't be obviously ongoing forever. So, but aside from that, I think that you are moving in the right direction and moving at a pace that is solid, normal, and healthy. Okay. So that is my advice to you. Let's go to our next question here, who comes from Anna. Anna says, texting problem, okay? So Anna says, hey, Tomisin, I think you know by now I stay asking questions. Yesterday, I thought he was ghosting me because he didn't double text me and follow through like he usually does, and I was upset the whole day like an idiot. But he ended up following up on our date, and we went out and had a lot of fun, and And he brought up my I think you might say he brought up my texting, and he was right, to be honest. I now realize I lack so much self-awareness. The last 2 days, I only responded to his text once per day, and he thought it was because I was avoiding hanging out with him on Friday because he had invited me to go out on Friday, and I said I couldn't. I'll be a little busy with homework, and he said, okay, if you have time, we can, and I only texted back once on Friday, so he thought it was because I didn't want to see him. I was upset all day over nothing, and I thought he wanted to ghost me when I was the one doing that to him. I also only liked his message, and he was offended at the thumbs up and kept telling me jokingly during our dates that he wants me to reply in between 30 minutes and an hour and no thumbs up, or else he will spam my phone with messages and calls. And I told him I don't have a problem with spamming, but I won't be able to text him that often because I'm busy. Okay. Don't listen to what he just told you to do. That's bait, okay? I know it's innocent bait, but that's bait to get you to start doing more, okay? And when I say doing more, he just wants you to be the one saying, where are you? What are you doing? Why don't you like me? You want to talk to me? I want to talk to you. I want to spend time with you. I want you to text me, right? Don't do that. Keep him in a place where he has all the, he is the one wondering about you and wondering what you're doing. When you thumbs up his message and you went about your day, what was he doing after that? He was thinking about you. What are you doing? Why did you only thumbs up my message? Why don't you want to talk to me? Why don't you want to hang out with me? You want to know what he was doing all that time leading up until this date? Thinking about you and thinking about if he's going to be able to spend this time with you. You know what he wouldn't be doing if you were texting him every 30 minutes and spamming him with calls and messages every 10 minutes? He would be not thinking about what are you doing and what are you spending your time doing and why haven't you messaged him, okay? Just keep that in mind, right? So don't do that stuff. It takes how much time to text back? 2 seconds. He ate me up with that one. I didn't know what to say. Just say I'm busy. Not every time I'm going to be on my phone. And even when I'm on my phone, I'm not trying to have a conversation over the phone all the time. Stand on business. Don't say to guys, oh, my apologies. I'll text you back every second of every day, right? Because what's going to happen is he'll do that. Maybe he'll text you back for a little bit. And then after a while of you consistently texting him back every 20 seconds, he's going to start pulling back a little bit and not texting you as much. You're going to lose your mind and you're going to think that that's an invitation to spam him like he said. But in reality, he's not going to actually positively respond to spamming. He's just going to say, damn, this girl really likes me, and he's not going to think about you as much. Just the honest truth. He also made me turn on notifications for his messages because he has them on for me and has me pinned. So, okay, don't do any of this. Anna, listen to me. Don't do any of the stuff that he's asking you to do. He wants to feel like you're his number one priority because he's making you a really big priority in his life. So he's trying to get you to be like, hey, notice me as much as I want you, right? Want me as much as I want you, right? It's giving him anxiety that he really is feeling like he likes you a lot, but he doesn't feel like you like him that same amount. Keep it where it is. Treat him like you treat everyone else. It keeps him humble. Right now, he's getting anxious because he feels like, hey, I like you a lot. I want this to work with you a lot. I want you a lot, but it doesn't feel like you want me as much as I want you. So he's trying to get you to balance the power here by giving him that same amount of attention and focus that he's giving to you. He's literally doing it so much that he's asking you to do the same things for him that he's done for you. Think about that. He's trying to equal that balance of power there. There's a lot of power in your favor right now. He's asking you out. He's wondering about you. You're the one liking his messages, not texting him back. He's thinking to himself, does she want to hang out with me? Does she want to text me? Does she want to see me? Is there something wrong with me? All of that is giving him anxiety. So what he's attempting to do here with what he's saying is to make it so that you stop giving him anxiety and stop making him think about what's going on with you. Don't do that. Keep it where it is. Okay. Someone said brainwashing you. Would it be okay to text him back in an hour every day? That would basically mean around 8 to 12 messages. Okay. So what I want you to do is not listen to anything that he said, like I said. And what I want you to do is keep texting to a minimum. Just use it as a scheduling tool. When you do text him, just text him pictures and videos of what you're doing. Maybe have a little bit of small conversation about what it is that you're doing and he's doing. Don't try to get to know him over text. Just do enough to keep the conversation going, but you're not trying to, build this relationship over text. Okay. So if that means an hour or every 2 hours, or depending on how much you're doing, and it's 8 to 12 texts a day, perfectly fine. If you want a direct strategy, that's perfectly fine. Just don't get so deep into the, questions and, asking each other things that you'd be talking about on a date. Don't do that over text. I really mean that. He already likes you enough. It's not going to matter. Okay. So you texting him less is honestly not going to affect his ability to ask you out on dates at this point, because now he's invested. Okay. Keep it that way. That would basically mean around 8 to 12 messages exchanges per day. I don't think that's too bad. That's perfectly fine. He also says he wants to see me every day. I said, okay, 100% no. 100% no. I said I'd rather take things slow now, and later on he could. And he asked how many times a week, and I said 3 times a week, and I'll let him see me twice on Wednesday. Of course, he tried to bargain with me more days, but ended up accepting and was happy with it. Our next date is he is introducing me to his friends, and he talks a lot about me to them. Perfect. And a textbook. Perfect. You don't, chat, listen to me. None of you do everyday hangouts. None of you. I don't care if he begs on his knees. I don't care if he sniffs your butthole. I don't care if he does anything you ask and begs you as much as he can to see you every day. You don't let a man see you every day, especially when he's not your boyfriend and not living with you. Okay? Why? You need to give him some time to miss you and want to spend more time with you. Remember, what you're doing is you're building his interest over time until he says, I want to be your boyfriend. And then you continue building that interest that he continues wanting to put his best foot forward in the relationship. Don't make yourself an everyday regular appearance in his life that he can only, because think about it, the moment he sees you every day, the only thing he can say after that is, I would like to see her less. So when it becomes every single day, 24 hours a day, and he rarely gets a break from you, he's going to start saying, I think I would like to see her a little bit less. You don't want that, okay? He told me ever since we met on our first date, he dropped every girl he had ever talked to, and he rejected girls so many times, saying that he got a girl. I'm not his GF girlfriend yet, though. Don't let any of that get you gassed up, okay? This chit-chat, okay? Don't let it phase you. Keep doing what you've been doing. He hasn't asked me to be his girlfriend yet, and we've only been dating a bit under 2 months, but he was training me on how to do the same and say I got a man if a guy approaches me. And I said, so you want me to be loyal during the talking stage? Just ignore this. Honestly, just ignore this. Just say, haha, funny. Just turn it into like a joke. I honestly mean that. And I know that I'm the same guy that says date one guy at a time, but I even if you're dating one guy at a time, I don't want you to make those guys feel special. So don't be like, oh, I'm already, only going to be talking to you and you're the only one that matters in my life. No. You, ha, that's so funny. Ha, you're a jokester. Ha. You got jokes, okay? He's going to get insecure about that. Wait, so I'm not your only guy? Ha. Funny. Just keep saying, ha, it's funny. That's jokes, okay? You're not going to give him that security, okay? Unless he wants to commit to you, he doesn't get security. If he wants security, he asks you to be his girlfriend, okay? He doesn't get commitment from you by saying, tell other guys that you want to be his boyfriend. You say, I'm going to tell other guys that I have a man when I actually have a boyfriend. Not because you're telling me to, okay? Stand on that. Every time he says that, say, I'm going to tell guys I have a man when I actually have a man, not when I have not because you're telling me to. He will eventually realize either I drop it or I ask her to be my girlfriend so that I don't have to ask her to do this of me. It's just already known, okay? And he said, of course, and that he was questioning if I was as well, and I said the truth, which was that I was. Don't do that, okay? I want you to reverse that. Go back and reverse that and tell him, to be honest with you, I don't want to be lying to people. If guys come to me and ask me if I have a boyfriend, I'm going to say no because I don't have a boyfriend. And it's inappropriate for me to be telling guys I have a boyfriend when I don't have a boyfriend. I just have to be honest with them. If he has a problem with you being honest, he can go take it up with himself. Because if he doesn't want to make you his girlfriend officially, then he should have no problem with you telling guys that she doesn't have a boyfriend. There's no crime there. Okay. If he has a problem, he can take it up with himself. He says he wants to go to the gym with me every day to show people I'm his girl. And I told him I can go to the gym with him once a week. And he said, but then the people will think we broke up. And I told him, not if we do it every week. Okay. So he's really trying to get you to do this everyday thing all the time. This is a one-way train to burnout, okay? You don't want that for your relationship. Keep it, like you said, maximum. So I just want to make this simple for you. The maximum amount of days he should be seeing you in a week is 3. Maximum. So whether that means some sort of combination of going to the gym and then going out for dinner afterwards, or let's say dinner one day and then next day is just the gym and then the next day is just a picnic or whatever, maximum amount of days he should be able to see you is 3, especially for where you're at in the beginning of the very beginning, really, of the relationship. When you start going more than that and you start extending these hangouts and they're every day, all throughout the week, you're going to start getting very easily into burnout stage because he's not even your boyfriend yet. There's no reason for you guys to be hanging out every single day like that. Let it build. Don't worry. He's not running away and you're not running away. This relationship will still be here tomorrow. Okay. So just keep him at bay. I know he's all horned up and excited and all that good stuff. And you're excited too. Just keep it at bay. Hold your water. Let it continue to build. Okay. He said, okay, that's fine. If he can't see me every day, he will just bring me food to class to see me. See what happens when guys are hungry, like figuratively, they want to just keep doing more and keep doing more. Just keep him at bay. Don't say yes to that. Keep him at day, maximum 3 times a week, okay? He'll keep being hungry. I know in my last message you said that I should say no to that sometimes, but in my previous one, you said it's good to encourage good behavior, so it would be okay to only accept food if he brings it every day. No. So, like I said, keep it simple for you. The maximum amount of times he should see you in a week is 3 times. So if he wants to bring you food every day, make it the days where he's already going to see you. That way he's not extending how much he sees you, because I guarantee you, when he brings you food, he's going to say, okay, so you're available after class. I'm going to pick you up from class. And then he'll pick you up from class. He'll basically give you no choice but to start seeing him every day then. Don't fall into that trap. Keep some days for you where you say, no matter what, I'm just busy, I'm focused. Even if you just don't reply to his text until you're like already home or finished class so that he can't bring you food during the class, okay? I really mean that, because when guys keep pushing like that, they're sometimes you just literally have to say no and just keep saying no. I got confused because you were saying that I should say no every once in a while to him bringing me food for a second, or to him hanging out with me a bit while I eat the food that he gets me. I want to keep it simple for you. See him a maximum of 3 days in a week. So whatever combination of things you do in those 3 days, you can do them. But keep it at 3 days, okay? Just let it build and keep it at 3 days. So whatever you want to do within those 3 days, if you want to eat food with him, chat with him, and then go out afterwards, perfectly fine. But just keep it at 3 days. Don't let it become an everyday type of thing. Me taking the food from him would only take a second, so I don't see the harm. But also seeing him in real life for 7 out of 7 days, I think is bad, even for just a second. But what do you think? I agree. It doesn't need to be 7 out of 7 days. It's not good. Because I guarantee you, a guy like this, where he's so hyped up to see you all the time, he's going to try to find a way, okay, now that I'm bringing you food every day, I'm going to linger around, or I'll spend some time with you, or I might even sit in class with you, right? Or, oh, okay, I gave you the food, so now I know I can pick you up in an hour when you finish the class. I know you're going to leave the class, so I'm going to pick you up from class. Then what happens when he picks you up from class? You want to go somewhere, you want to do something, you have some time later, you have some, right? And trust me, he's going to start figuring out a way to get it so that once he gives you food every day, he can start seeing you a little bit more and more every day. I know that you're like, oh, but is that such a bad thing? We just don't want him to get burned out in this relationship, or you as well to get burned out in this relationship by seeing him all the time, okay? I told him I need to focus on my studies and I can't get distracted by seeing him 7 days a week. And he said he helped me with my homework last time, and also that that I can be his wife and he will provide for me and that I don't have to study. I mean, it sounds good, but still study, okay? I told him I need to focus on becoming a doctor because we might not get married. And he said, why? Because your mom won't like me? What? I'll get her to like me. I don't know if he's being serious. Of course, I'd rather marry him and not study. I like him a lot, but I'd never do that. Of course, I'm still going to study and go to med school. Yeah, like that's just ignore that. Just forget that was even a thing. You're going to study. You're going to go to med school. You're going to become a doctor. No PP is going to stop you from doing that, okay? My question is, should I do what he asked for by replying to his text within 30 minutes to an hour? Should I take more time to reply? No, I'm just going to say it simply for you. Don't do that, okay? We don't even need to have that. Don't do that, okay? You reply when you have time, and that should be, when you have time. So sometimes that might be 2 hours. Sometimes you might be doing a whole thing. Don't be rushing to send him text back. I promise you, this guy will still like you and still want to date you, even if you don't text him back every 30 minutes or even every hour, okay? If I should say no to him dropping off food, yes, there should be some days where this just can't happen, right? You're busy, you're doing stuff. You just don't have time to be on the phone and coordinating with him dropping off food for you, okay? Just keep it that simple. And even if it gets to the point where you're just at those times where he asks, you just don't respond, do that. We don't need this to become an everyday thing. Also, he was yapping about having men on my social media, but already he has a lot of women on social media. I realized he just stopped adding new ones since we started dating. I responded to him on a date that saying as if you don't have a woman on your social media, and he said he does, but he doesn't care about them and leaves them all undelivered, even if they send him a million texts and snaps. I mean, yeah, sure, whatever, sounds good. He even then stopped mentioning the social media thing and told me just not reply to them. What? Like told you to stop replying to them? I don't know. I found that fact that he mentioned having dudes on social media in the first place weird and hypocritical since he has a lot of females on there. But what do you think? What do you mean by he has a lot of females on there though? Because are you saying that he follows a lot of random girls he doesn't know, or just like, you know, in general, like people that he's met, he's a popular guy and he follows people that he knows? Because following girls that you don't know is embarrassing. But if he's following girls that actually follow him back that he knows, then that, and it just happens to be, you know, a good amount of girls, that's a totally different thing. Should I tell him that I'm not unadding any men until he unadds the girls he has, or is it better if I drop it? I just there's no, like, just drop it, honestly. Like, there's nothing. I don't think that it's necessary for you to unfollow people that haven't shown themselves to be an issue in your relationship. Now, if a guy is messaging you repeatedly or being disrespectful or something, that's a totally different story. But if he's just talking about having random guys that you follow, we're not doing the thing where you unfollow all the men in your life. That's ridiculous, okay? He knows better than to ever text them, though, because I'd leave him and block him forever if he does this, since he expects loyalty from me as well. Also, he mentioned rejecting going to the bar whenever his friends invite him, saying that he can't because he got a girl. Now, he did go to the bar twice at the beginning of us talking when I had traveled to another country. My girlfriend's, spied on him. So if he meant not going to the bar ever since our first date, he is lying. Should I ask him the specifics of what he means, that statement, to confront him if he lies? He didn't talk to any females when my friend saw him at the bar, though, so I don't really care to mention it, to be honest. By the way, I don't mind him going to the bar. I already told him that. No, I think there's no reason to bring it up. I think that what he's trying to do here is he's trying to bring up what he's doing to try to make it be like, oh, I'm not talking to any other girls. I'm telling girls that I have a girlfriend. So you should be telling guys that you have a boyfriend. You should be not going to the bar or the club either. You should do what I'm doing. The reality of it is, if he wants you to be his girlfriend, so you guys have that expectation and there's, you know, that level of seriousness in your relationship, he should just ask you to be his girlfriend. I just don't like all this stuff he's doing to try to make it exclusive. You can make it exclusive by just asking you to be his girlfriend. He kind of asked if I expected loyalty from him since our first date, and I said it was really early, that I wouldn't have minded that much. Then he asked, what about now? And I said, of course, I expect loyalty from now on because you expect the same. And I said he'd never hear from me again if he wasn't loyal from this point. He said he's been loyal since our first every day. I mean, chit chat, it's fine. He does always show me off in public by opening the car door for me and kissing me in front of hundreds of girls in my college. So I trust. However, he hasn't posted me on social media yet, but I don't care about this since he shows me off in public and barely ever uses social media anymore. Anyways, I'm not his girlfriend yet. Exactly. I'm pretty sure he also is scared of girls DMing him that he used to do stuff with before he met me, since he was a bit of a bop before me. And I have only kissed 2 other guys in the past 3 years. That's pretty funny that you said that. I don't mind that he did all this before we started dating. It's none of my business, but I'd be happier if he unadded every girl, but only followed me, but that's unrealistic, very unrealistic. Also, you said it's good to talk to other men and not be attached at the hip during social events. However, he said he wants to show everyone that I'm his girl and that he talks to me to tell, and every guy that talks to me to tell them that I have a man and walk away, even if he is gay. And even if any man approaches me when we are together, he take care of it. So I don't think he is going to talk to other. So I don't think I'm going to talk to other men during social events because I feel he'd beat them up. He basically said he doesn't want me to talk to or he doesn't want any other men to talk to me or approach and to reject them all, which is fair since I do the same. Also, as you can see, he's starting to be possessive over me, but I find it attractive. I like possessive men because I'd rather men care and not be okay with sharing. Okay, that's fair. I think that, because I see here you're asking, do you think that these are, okay boundaries? That's fine. I don't think that that's anything bad that he doesn't want other guys to talk to you. Now, there's a way to go about that that's healthy, and there's a way that starts becoming a little bit unhealthy. But I think in itself, the fact that he wants you to himself is not necessarily a crime, okay? So there's nothing wrong there. Now, let's gauge how he goes about it because you just don't want it to become like a control thing. Another thing was that he asked what I did this weekend, and when I said shopping with friends, he said he wants to go shopping with me if I want to get anything, and he wants to buy everything for me. I love that, but I also told him I don't want him to see the outfits I buy before dates, said we'd be shopping in different sections of the store so he wouldn't see me try them. Do you think it's okay to accept that? Okay. I'm going to mention to you something that I think you want to be paying attention to, okay? And I see the rest of your message here. You don't want to get into this is a lot. Like, he wants to spend a lot of time with you. And that's not a crime. But you're going to have to start, you're developing a bit of a golden retriever on your hands. And you're going to have to start playing the black cat where you got to make sure you do things for yourself and you don't let him get you in a position where he's taking all of your time. I know that he probably means well and he's not doing this purposely, but this is like becoming a situation where he wants to take all of your time. You don't want that because at a certain point, you're going to lose yourself in a relationship when he takes up all of your time. You don't have time for friends or anything else. Like, there should be time where you have time with girlfriends that's not with him. You should be able to go shopping with your girlfriends and he's not along, because your girlfriends are going to start saying, well, we don't want to hang out with you because every time we hang out with you, your boyfriend's there. And it's great that you have a boyfriend and we're happy for you, but not every time we spend time with you do we want to spend time with your boyfriend. And this is where you have to start having a balancing act where between him, of course, he likes to spend time with you and he's a little bit possessive over you, but you can't be like his possession where he doesn't feel like it's okay for you to do anything that's not with him, because that's also not good as well. You are supposed to be able to have your individuality outside of him, okay? Right? So you said he also mentions inviting me wherever I go with my girlfriends and said that he could bring friends for them as well. I told them they're already, okay, so this is much of the same thing, okay? Like I said, don't do that because this is like a 24/7 thing. He accepted the boundary I set, of course, and takes a bit and wants to see me 24/7. Yeah, please, let's take a chill pill here. The only thing he still argued about texting because he said it would take a second to reply. Also about the food, he cares about me and wants to feed me because he knows I work hard. Like I said about the texting situation, keep it to when you're busy. I think that was the end of your message here. And when you work hard, let me read the last part here. By the way, the friends I'm hanging out with recently are the ones that already have boyfriends. Thank you so much for your advice. I really enjoy hanging out with them. They are very sweet. Okay, so Anna, yes, please, for the sake of your relationship, please keep it at bay where you're not spending all of your time with him. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where he's taking up every free moment that you have. Your girlfriends are going to start saying, when are you going to hang out with us? When are you going to spend time with us? Your family is going to start saying that, and you're going to lose yourself in the relationship. I know he likes you. I know he wants to spend time with you, but you're not his possession. And it's great that he really likes you, but he also you need to start helping him understand, look, I like you too, but there's boundaries here. Like, we're not going to be attached at the hip every single day, 24/7. You will see me when I have time for you, but that time is not going to be all the time. And so far, I mean, he's been okay with it. Of course, he's always trying to push and push more. It hasn't, been like, he yells at you or curses you out because you can't spend time with him. But I just want that to be something that you monitor, Anna. And you have to keep track of how much time you're spending with him, because you can easily, if you're not paying attention to this or monitoring this, you're going to fall into the trap of spending all of your days with him and never getting a moment for yourself. Because you're also going to start as well, Anna, starting to feel suffocated a little bit if all of your time is being spent with him and he never gives you a break from him, okay? You don't want that for yourself as well, because you're going to start becoming a little bit unattracted to him when you feel like he doesn't want to spend any time away from you. I mean, it's great in theory, but I promise you, as a woman, when you actually get a man who wants to spend literally every second of his life with you, it starts to become a little bit unattractive. We don't want that for you, and we also don't want that for your relationship. So I want you to keep him at bay, where it's great that you want to hang out with me, but it's not going to be every day. And I'm going to do some things with you. I'm also going to do some things without you, not because I don't like you, but because that's what being an individual is about, okay? Manu says, take the shopping spree and run. Sounds great in theory, right? But at the end of the day, right, you don't want to lose yourself in a relationship, okay? I hope that makes sense to you. Next question we have here comes from Lena Leak. So Lena Leak says, what should I do? Lennon Leak says, hi, Tomisin. So I was in a relationship briefly for around 2.5 months last year that ended in December of 2023. One of the reasons was that I made a stupid move to have gone to the movies with a male friend. I actually had a question answered in the Discord about this. I remember that question. But if I'm honest, there were so many red flags about this guy. I have to admit, though, that I missed the fact that it was the first time I had a man take me out regularly and act gentlemanly. I have been seeing his car many times on the road, even up to today. Huh? I lay at home this evening, somewhat wishing to hear from him. What? Then I reminded myself of the red flags I identified. What do you mean you've been seeing his car many times on the road? Like, you just mean like the same model of car? I'm assuming. Okay. But guess what? After exactly 9 months of no contact from either of us, he actually called. He said he saw me today and wanted to speak with me. He asked me if I wanted to drive out with him, but I said no. I said I was okay if we spoke on my compound. There was somewhat of a red flag when he also said I could come by him. I immediately identified this was an attempt to see if he still has control and maybe even get physical again, thanks to your show. He ended up coming to me and we stayed outside. We rehashed a few things, but all in all, he is saying how he rates me because I genuinely care. He also asked for us to try again. He tried to hug me and I refused at first, but then hugged him back. He also tried to kiss me. Someone says, is this still Anna? No, it's someone different. This is Lena Leak. He also tried to kiss me, but I insisted that I could not do that. I am so amazed at how this manifested from me thinking about it and hoping for it. But I know it probably wouldn't make sense to re-engage in it. I also know I would feel like crap if it was in fact a test to see if he could still get me, then he drops me again. Please help knock some sense into me because my loneliness is making me feel to allow it to happen again. Okay, so what I'll say to you, Lennon Leak, is based on your situation, I think if he wants to say that he came back and he, identifies that, he wants to be with you and stuff like that, you're in a position now where just don't give him anything and let him show you if this is really what he wants. Just let him show you. And if he's willing to do that, then he'll be more than willing to do that without sleeping with you being on the table. Now, I will say this whole thing where he just came to meet up with you and he immediately tried to kiss you after that, that's not a good sign. But I will say if you really want, because listen, we're friends here. And I know if I just tell you don't ever speak to him again, don't ever talk to him again, the chances of you actually doing that is slim to none. So let me give you advice on what I know you'll probably more likely to actually do, which is speak to him again because you're interested and want to explore this. Let's use this as an opportunity to let him show you what he actually is about. So you see how here he tried it by saying, hey, come over to my place. You're like, no, if you want to speak to me, you'll speak to me outside on my compound. So he came and he spoke to you. Then you guys had a conversation. He tried to hug you. You guys hugged or whatever. When he tried to kiss you, you said no. If you want to continue seeing me, you want to continue spending time with me, we can meet in public. We can have conversation. That's about it. If that's not enough for you, if you're looking for more than that, or if that frustrates you because you want me to be at your house spreading myself wide open, you want to jackrabbit yourself inside of me, and that's what you consider a good relationship, then I'm not looking for that. You can go ahead about your days, right? You don't have to say that to him, but this is exactly what you've been doing, where you've been setting the standards and expectations. No, if you want to see me, you meet me on my terms with my standards and my expectations. If you can't meet that, or that's too hard for you, go off and do whatever you want to do, okay? This is the approach that you have to have here. Let him do all the reaching out, let him do all the texting, let him do all the planning, and you say, look, if you want me and you want to spend time with me, you meet my criteria. If that's too much for you, perfectly fine. You can go off and do what you were already doing. And let him make a choice on what he wants to do, okay? So in terms of the rest of this relationship, if he wants to reach out to you, then let him do that. If he doesn't, don't do any reaching out. Now, when he does reach out to you, if he says to you again, hey, I want you to come over to my house, I'm not doing that. If we want to go out somewhere or do something in public, whatever, or we want to date, we can do that. But I'm not going to your house. Point blank period. If that's too much for you, you think I'm being a hard butt because of that, cool. I don't care. I really don't. If that, if you're okay with going out on a date and you still want to see me, cool, then I'm sure you'll be able to plan it. And you just have to reside yourself to, this is what it's going to be. If you want to get access to me, if it's not that, I really don't care. Okay. And allow him to show you if he's prepared to do anything hard in this relationship or if not. Okay. And then you're going to be observing outside of that. All right. All right, guys, that's the show for today. I know we didn't get to do so many questions just because they were a little bit long, but rest assured, I will get an opportunity to answer the rest of your questions. I'm here every weekday, so don't you worry. For those of you who want to skip the line and you want to ask your question and get it answered very soon, go ahead and donate to the show and submit your question. Just go into our TikTok bio or go into our YouTube description, and you go there and you can ask your premium Discord question, donate to the show, put your username and put your title of your question, and I will answer it for you. Okay, does that make sense? For those of you who are on YouTube and TikTok and want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is right above my head on the top left corner of the screen for you guys right there. It's just Tomisin_Tub, and it's also on the bottom right of the screen for those of you on YouTube as well. Oh, by the way, if you have a private question for me, and you don't want your question to be live on the show and read out live on the show, you can also ask your private question. Same link in the bio on TikTok, same link in the description on YouTube. Ask your private question, and I give you a voice message response via your email. Comes within a maximum of 7 days, okay? I don't have Amazon Prime shipping yet, okay? But it comes as soon as possible, usually 3 to 4. And so you guys can do that as well. And for those of you who are on TikTok and want to rewatch the show, maybe you missed parts of it or you came late or anything like that, you can always go on my YouTube page. It's just Tomisin Atobatele right on my YouTube page. You go into the live section, and then when you're in the live section, you'll be able to see this live stream along with all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. You'll get all the access and context of the show because you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video, so you won't miss even a moment of conversation that we have there in the chat. All right, guys. I am here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, arrivederci, adios, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam. What was the other one? Arrivederci, bon voyage! And I will see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now. I love you so much, so much, so much.